Tai Chu is only the first of the innate 5 great. After it, there are 4 more, and each one represents a different stage of the path I walk. Lin Yuan was in high spirits. Through the innate 5 great, he had found the path he needed to follow in the future. The chaotic origin Taiji Dao is the Dao he has comprehended for himself. And the innate 5 great is the extended path based on this Dao. The former is the foundation, the latter is the direction, both equally important. Just as Lin Yuan was planning to further comprehend the evolution of the Dao origin of the 4th source world. A sudden change in expression. Is the one-way space-time about to open? Lin Yuan gazed into the distance in a certain direction. The one-way space-time is a special world created by the Lord Wanwei with everything he possessed. When Lin Yuan learned of the existence of the one-way space-time, he established a causal connection with it, allowing him to smoothly sense the coordinates of the one-way space-time and thus approach it. Of course, to truly enter the one-way space-time, one needs at least Lord-level means. Time beings of the 1st realm or 2nd realm, even if aware of the one-way space-time coordinates, cannot truly approach. Time beings below the Lord level can only enter the one-way space-time if led by a Lord. The Taiji primordial spirit is about to arrive as well. Lin Yuan thought to himself, recalling that, more than 100 years ago, upon first learning of the one-way space-time, he sent the Taiji primordial spirit there. Within the one-way space-time lies the lifelong accumulated treasures of the legendary Lord Wanwei, though over countless ages, most of the treasures have been taken by various time beings. Yet, even a slight gain could yield Lin Yuan a great profit. This time, the main objective for entering the one-way space-time is exploration. Avoid unnecessary conflict without assurance. Lin Yuan thought to himself. According to the information provided by the time-space shop owner, a normal lord entering the one-way space-time would encounter little danger as long as they're not rash. Moreover, they would invariably obtain treasures worth thousands of caddies of time sand. Though it can't compare with the reward of 10,000 caddies of time sand offered by the Lord of Yiwu, at least Lin Yuan has room to make choices. Outside the one-way space-time, Lin Yuan's Taiji primordial spirit observed the vast space in the distance. The scale of the one-way space-time far exceeds that of top-tier dimensional spaces like the Chaos Void. It is vast and boundless, making it hard to shake even for Time Lords. Swish, swish, swish. With the opening of the one-way space-time, streams of consciousness quickly surged in. The one-way space-time had been opened many times before. No need to be overly cautious. After waiting a short while, Lin Yuan also entered the one-way space-time. Is this inside the one-way space-time? Following the surging currents of time-space, Lin Yuan finally landed on a piece of land, carefully surveying his surroundings. The suppression of the Dao is severe. It's nearly impossible to perceive the timeline. Lin Yuan wasn't surprised, as he had already learned this information through intelligence reports. In the one-way space-time, large-scale movement is difficult, and perception is heavily suppressed. Moreover, Time Lords can hardly observe their own or others' timelines here. This rule, a law of iron, was set by the Lord Wanwei when the space-time was established, and even Time Lords must obey. Lord of Heaven Light attempted to become a 4th-rank perfect time being but ultimately failed, unable to do anything before perishing. Yet Lord Wanwei had the ability to develop such a vast space-time. Lin Yuan's thoughts churned. This demonstrates that Lord Wanwei's power likely surpasses that of the Lord of Heaven Light significantly. That's the depths of the Wanwei space-time where Time Lords of the 2nd and 3rd tiers head immediately upon entry. Lin Yuan looked towards a certain direction, pondering. I won't join in the commotion. Lin Yuan shook his head. Time Lords of the 2nd and 3rd tiers do not enter the Wanwei space-time for treasure alone. They are after the insights and comprehension related to Lord Wanwei's paths to transcendence. These insights are typically located deep within the Wanwei space-time. Of course, there have been instances when treasures have appeared outside the depths during past openings of the Wanwei space-time, but such occurrences are extremely rare. After briefly surveying his surroundings, Lin Yuan began his exploration in earnest. The opening span of the Wanwei space-time is not lengthy, shortest 1,000,000 years, longest 10 million years. For Time Lords, 1,000,000 or 10,000,000 years is but a fleeting moment. Whoosh, Lin Yuan immediately chose a direction to explore, being able to rely only on flight to slowly search for treasures and opportunities in the one-way spacetime due to perceptual suppression. Boom! Lin Yuan raised his hand, smashing the vast mountain range before him, yet found no valuable treasures. The one-way spacetime has been opened many times, explored countless times. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly, understanding why the second-tier peaks and third-tier Time Lords head directly into the depths upon entry. Perhaps the outer regions still hold treasures, but the search is challenging, suitable only for weaker lords to investigate. Lin Yuan suddenly stopped, looking at a nearby hill and sensing a special energy. He immediately extended his hand. The hill split open, revealing an octagonal crystal in Lin Yuan's palm. Lord-level material? A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face, recognizing the octagonal crystal as an excellent Lord-level raw material, worth 2,000 caddies of time sand. My luck is quite good. Lin Yuan felt a surge of satisfaction. He hadn't been in here long and already made a discovery, whereas many Time Lords spend tens of thousands of years without finding any significant treasures. This Lord-level material can indeed be integrated into the origin clock. Lin Yuan observed for a moment and concluded. However, that will have to wait until we leave the one-way spacetime. This time, the Taiji primordial spirit didn't carry many treasures, and naturally, the origin clock as a life weapon wasn't brought along. Firstly, the origin clock, which is only at the first realm, doesn't offer much help to Lin Yuan. Secondly, the one-way spacetime is full of dangers, and Lin Yuan only dispatched the Taiji primordial spirit, having prepared for the worst. That is, the Taiji primordial spirit might fall within the one-way spacetime. Thus, it's best not to carry valuable treasures if possible. Merely losing the Taiji primordial spirit doesn't constitute a high cost for Lin Yuan. On the other side of the one-way spacetime, 7 or 8 figures stood there. Lord Yiwu was shrouded in white mist, gazing into the depths of the one-way spacetime, glancing at the 3 or 4 Time Lords standing behind him. Clearly, among the 7 or 8 figures, Lord Yiwu and 2 other lords were leading, while the remaining 5 Time Lords stood behind these 3 lords, holding a lesser position. Rest assured, whether or not we gain anything from this entry into the one-way spacetime, I will provide you all with tens of thousands of pounds of time sand, Lord Yiwu said. The 5 Time Lords behind him were all newly minted Time Lords, specifically hired by him. The purpose was to have a backup to hold off other lords when vying for critical treasures and wonders within the one-way spacetime. Newly minted Time Lords, while not as powerful as those formidable Time Lords, can still be of some use if they entangle themselves wholeheartedly. Thank you, Brother Yiwu. Rest assured, Brother Yiwu. We will obey orders this time in the one-way spacetime. The 5 Time Lords immediately spoke up, knowing that they would receive tens of thousands of pounds of time sand regardless of the outcome, which served as a bottom-line income. What's more, Lord Yiwu didn't care about their other gains within the one-way spacetime. With such a powerful lord like Lord Yiwu leading them, as they ventured deep into the one-way spacetime, they could gather any treasure or wonder, rendering the venture worthwhile. In the blink of an eye, Lin Yuan had been exploring the one-way spacetime for 3,000 years. He had encountered other Time Lords twice, but neither side engaged in combat, merely retreating after eye contact. Unless it involved coveted treasures and wonders, Time Lords rarely act directly, especially within the one-way spacetime, where the presence of other lurking Time Lords in the vicinity is unknown. Without the ability to observe future timelines, Time Lords are very cautious. 3,000 years, and in this one-way spacetime, apart from initially obtaining a Lord-level material worth 2,000 pounds of time sand, there have been no other gains? Lin Yuan maintained a state of exploration, feeling a bit helpless. But on second thought, this was the common experience for Time Lords exploring the one-way spacetime. In just 3,000 years, expecting any major gains was unrealistic, and obtaining a Lord-level raw material could already be considered exceptionally lucky. After all, this isn't the deep regions of one-way spacetime but the border areas which have been explored countless times. Although there were no gains in the one-way spacetime over 3,000 years, Lin Yuan made significant progress in his understanding of the fourth source world. In the chaos void, Lin Yuan's true form sat cross-legged. Before him, strands of Tai Chu power interwove and clashed, faintly, nurturing another form of Tai power. The first of the innate five great is Tai Chu, followed by Tai Shi, but this Tai Shi. Flashes of insight surged in Lin Yuan's mind regarding the innate five great, and he had a nascent understanding of the second Tai. However, fully comprehending it would still take some time, though with the support of the fourth source world it likely wouldn't take too long. At this moment, Lin Yuan's expression changed. One-way spacetime. Lin Yuan's gaze looked far into the direction of the one-way spacetime. Clearly, the Taiji primordial spirit within the one-way spacetime had made a new discovery. Within the one-way spacetime, Lin Yuan suddenly stopped, looking in another direction. A vast area of space was torn, and a small mountain drifted out from the rift. In the one-way spacetime, space isn't very stable and often tears apart, but with the Time Lord's mastery of time and space, they can completely detect and avoid it in advance. What is that? Lin Yuan's pupils constricted as the small mountain drifting out from the torn space was filled with rich power of time. A time mountain, entirely composed of time sand? Lin Yuan took a deep breath. His entire wealth amounted to only a few thousand pounds of time sand, yet how many pounds could that time mountain composed of time sand be? Millions of pounds? Or tens of millions of pounds? Great opportunity. Lin Yuan's heartbeat accelerated. This torn space must connect to the depths of the one-way spacetime, causing the treasures there to drift to the outer region through the spatial rift, eventually being discovered by me. Countless thoughts flashed through Lin Yuan's mind. Eventually, converging into one. This is mine. The time mountain is mine. By acquiring this time mountain, Lin Yuan could completely transition from a poor time lord to an affluent one. Buzz. Lin Yuan's figure disappeared, reappearing next to the spatial rift, stretching out his hand to seize the time mountain. Another direction. A bald figure also gazes towards the vast, torn space rift. This figure is a Time Lord who has just entered the second level. His cold eyes look towards the distant space rift. Mountain. This Time Lord is somewhat bewildered, noticing the mountain, composed entirely of time sand. But in the next moment, a figure appears beside the mountain and takes the time mountain away. No! The bald Time Lord feels his heart bleeding. He is far from the space rift and hasn't reacted yet, but the time mountain has already been claimed by another lord. Which lord is he? The bald Time Lord observes Lin Yuan. After such a long time, still exploring the outskirts of one-way space, he's certainly not a Time Lord at the pinnacle of the second level. The bald Time Lord concludes, at most, he has just entered the second level, maybe even a Time Lord in the first level. The bald Time Lord breathes a sigh of relief, his heart deciding. If it were just ordinary treasures, he most likely wouldn't take any action if another lord claimed them first. After all, the treasures are already in the other's hands, and reclaiming them is too difficult. But that time mountain? The bald Time Lord still wants to try and contest it. With this thought, the bald Time Lord's figure instantly vanishes from where he stood. Got it. Lin Yuan stores the time mountain within his inner universe and immediately begins moving away in another direction. This mountain. Lin Yuan's spirit is excited. Suddenly, a figure appears in the distance. At the same time, an intangible aura permeates the earth and the sky. Lin Yuan furrows his brows, stopping. Sir. The bald Time Lord stares at Lin Yuan. I saw that mountain too, and it's not fair for you to monopolize it. You saw it too? Lin Yuan instantly understands. The time mountain drifting out from the space rift was taken by him in a very short time, but ultimately it wasn't completely flawless. The bald Time Lord also saw it, and there's nothing that can be Done. What do you want to do? Lin Yuan directly asks. Give me half. The Bald Time Lord states, as long as you agree, only you and I will know about this and we can safely leave the one-way space. The implication is, if Lin Yuan doesn't agree, the matter will be made public. Then for sure other Time Lords will be tempted, even Time Lords at the pinnacle of the second level might intervene. My demand isn't high, the Bald Time Lord says. He isn't confident in being able to hold on to Lin Yuan. With only initial second-level strength, he can't completely overpower a first-level Time Lord. That's why he requested half. Not high demand? Lin Yuan frowns. He's certainly unwilling to split his gains for no reason. But the Bald Time Lord's threat does influence Lin Yuan. Want half of the mountain? Words alone won't do. Lin Yuan thinks for a moment, deciding, take one of my moves if you can handle it. I'll agree to your request. If the Bald Time Lord withstands Lin Yuan's move without issue, it means the opponent's strength can match him. In such a scenario, to prevent future troubles, dividing half of the Time Mountain is the wisest choice. Take one of your moves? The Bald Time Lord laughs. One-way space has been opened for thousands of years, and a Time Lord still exploring the peripheral regions at this time. What strength could he have? Not just one move, even 10 or 100 moves. The Bald Time Lord is very confident. However, before he can finish speaking, not far away, Lin Yuan extends his hand. The aura is heavy and oppressive. Strands of power seemingly originating from the beginning converge, forming an all-encompassing prison, vast and boundless, pressing towards the Bald Time Lord. The Bald Time Lord feels suffocated. How can he be this strong? The Bald Time Lord was somewhat dumbfounded. Originally, he thought he had been cautious enough, being a second-tier lord, yet exploring the outskirts of the one-way spacetime. It's known that most second-tier lords usually venture deep into the one-way spacetime. Gains there, even slightly, can outmatch hundreds of thousands or even millions of years spent exploring the outskirts. But Lin Yuan? Just through the suffocating sensation emanating from him, the Bald Time Lord could deduce that Lin Yuan's strength far exceeded his own. A second-tier lord needs to endure the tribulation of 1,008,000 calamities, and the terrifying aura Lin Yuan is exhibiting now is equivalent to that of a powerful lord who has endured 500 or 600 million times. A lord of such prowess, yet not venturing into the deep one-way spacetime? Let me test this move. Lin Yuan quickly pressed his right hand down. At this moment, he was fully committing himself, directly utilizing Tai Chu from the Innate 5 Great. Innate 5 Great is a method established by Lin Yuan, gathering all of his own insights from the operation of the origin Tao of the fourth source world. It elevates Lin Yuan's strength to a whole new realm. Besides the still improving Tai Chu is Lin Yuan's strongest move. If Tai Chu cannot defeat the Bald Time Lord, it means Lin Yuan has no way to deal with him, and splitting half of the Time Mountain is the best choice. Rumble. Although it seemed slow, Lin Yuan's attack arrived instantly. While the Bald Time Lord was shocked by Lin Yuan's strength, he also immediately employed all his means to resist. Even though he sensed he was not Lin Yuan's match, the Bald Time Lord was unwilling to retreat. After all, it involved such a significant Time Mountain, more than his long years of accumulation. Unless all hope was lost, naturally the Bald Time Lord wanted to fight. As long as he could withstand Lin Yuan's attack, then the two would have the capital to negotiate. At this moment, the Bald Time Lord did not hope to receive half of the Time Mountain. The extent of division depended on his own strength. If the Bald Time Lord was stronger than Lin Yuan, half of the mountain would be no problem, even more than half. However, as it stands now, with the inequality of power, the Bald Time Lord dared not think too much. If he could ultimately secure a tenth, it would still be profitable. Of course, this premise is if he can withstand Lin Yuan's attack. Only by withstanding can he force Lin Yuan to concede. Rumble. The power of Tai Chu penetrated through layers of spacetime. Without the suppression of the one-way spacetime, the pervasive Tai Chu force would have obliterated everything. Me? The bald Time Lord's entire body emitted layers of dark light, struggling to resist the omnipresent Tai Chu force. Upon first contact, a tenth of my physical body was obliterated. Though it quickly regenerated the obliterated fraction, it continued to be eroded under the Tai Chu force. Swish! The Tai Chu force resembled a vast ocean, and the bald Time Lord seemed like a solitary boat adrift, prone to capsizing at any moment. Too strong. The bald Time Lord's heart trembled. He was utterly no match for Lin Yuan. Even simply defending was exceedingly challenging. My luck is just too bad. In his heart, the bald Time Lord felt helpless, finally discovering a treasure on the outskirts, only to have it fall into the hands of such a formidable entity like Lin Yuan. At this moment, the bald Time Lord had a new assessment of Lin Yuan's strength. At least he was a lord who had survived 700 or 800 million times of the second-tier tribulation. The second tier only consists of 1,008,000 calamities, surviving 700 or 800 million times, already considered at the pinnacle of this tier. Of course, the most fearsome existence in the second tier are those facing the final 8,000 calamities. 1,008,000 steps, of which 1 billion is a threshold, having passed 1 billion calamities, attempting the final 8,000 marks one's touch upon legendary lord status. Truth be told, many powerful Time Lords, after surviving up to the 10 billionth tribulation of the second tier, dare not attempt the final 8,000 calamities. The possibility of failure in the last 8,000 calamities of 1,008,000 steps is immensely high, and once failed, one would be erased by the Supreme Rule Tao's consciousness. Buzz Tai Chu force dissipated. The bald Time Lord's form recoalesced. However, his aura was noticeably much weaker now than before. While he wasn't entirely obliterated under Lin Yuan's innate 5 great attack with Tai Chu, he wasn't far off. Ha! Lin Yuan observed the bald Time Lord, estimating his condition. The one move he mentioned naturally was not just a single move, but rather using this move to gauge the bald Time Lord's approximate strength. No need to look further. That Time Mountain is yours. The bald Time Lord shook his head, saying. He was now heavily injured, only needing Lin Yuan to deploy that level of technique a few more times. If he didn't flee, the bald Time Lord basically wouldn't survive. I appreciate it, Lin Yuan said. Only because my strength is lesser than yours. The bald Time Lord looked at Lin Yuan. Congratulations on such a gain. Harvesting a time mountain of that size in the outer region truly deserved congratulations. After saying that, the bald Time Lord disappeared. Gone. Lin Yuan sensed the bald Time Lord's aura fading away, but did not intercept. Firstly, it might not be stoppable, a fully fleeing second-tier Time Lord. Even if pursued, how long would it take? Millions of years? Or billions of years? The time since the opening of one-way spacetime is also millions of years at most. Even if pursued, the bald Time Lord would not die, at most losing a combat body. There hasn't been much gain yet. The combat body which the bald Time Lord sent into the one-way spacetime would surely not carry any precious treasures. Earlier, when the other party resisted Lin Yuan's Tai Chu force, it was solely through their secret technique body, without any visible weapons. As for the second reason, it's that before leaving, the bald Time Lord promised not to spread the matter. That is to say, the fact that Lin Yuan obtained a mountain-sized amount of time sand won't be known to other Time Lords. Quite sensible. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. Among Time Lords, unless there is deep enmity, they won't do things that harm others without benefiting themselves. Spreading the news that Lin Yuan obtained such a time mountain, attracting other Time Lords to intervene, offers no benefit to the bald Time Lord. Even if other Time Lords manage to seize the time mountain from Lin Yuan, they won't share it with the bald Lord. Instead, it would create significant karma with Lin Yuan, escalating enmity, and with Lin Yuan's terrifying strength, having an additional enemy like him would certainly increase pressure on the bald Time Lord. When they first met, the bald Time Lord threatened to reveal the Time Mountain affair based on equal strength, or a close balance of power. Under such circumstances, even if enmity arose with Lin Yuan, the similar strength wouldn't deter the bald Time Lord from seeking revenge. In that situation, Lin Yuan would likely not go all out but would instead share half of the Time Mountain for mutual benefit. However, with Lin Yuan's strength far exceeding the Bald Time Lord's, threats were no longer applicable. Threatening someone far superior in strength is not a threat but foolishness. Which lord is it exactly? In another area, the Bald Time Lord appeared, his expression contemplative. Though he didn't claim to know all Time Lords, he was aware of most of their reputations. The skills and strength Lin Yuan displayed just now were unheard of by the Bald Time Lord. There are too many secrets in the infinite dimensional space. The Bald Time Lord sighed, reflecting on the vastness of the infinite dimensions, filled with dimensional spaces and heavens and earths, thereby birthing time lives, among which a batch of Time Lords emerged, over countless ages, from the origin of time to now. Who knows how many Time Lords exist? Many ancient Time Lords focus entirely on exploring paths to transcendence, rarely revealing themselves. To the Bald Time Lord's mind, Lin Yuan must be one such ancient Time Lord. What puzzled the Bald Time Lord was why this ancient lord didn't venture into the depths of the one-way spacetime. Perhaps he already knew a time mountain would appear there, hence he waited? The Bald Time Lord's mind was filled with various speculations, ultimately hiding in a corner, fully recovering from his injuries. To withstand Lin Yuan's attack, the Bald Time Lord was heavily wounded. Now, he needed to recover quickly for the continued exploration ahead. My current strength should be considered strong among the second-tier lords. Upon confirming that the Bald Lord had completely left, Lin Yuan began reviewing the previous battle. The Bald Time Lord seemed to have just entered the second tier but had little resistance under Lin Yuan's innate 5 great. 3,000 years ago, when Lin Yuan first created Tai Chu from the innate 5 great, he believed he had reached the second tier of lords. And over the subsequent 3,000 years, although Lin Yuan hadn't created the following Tai Shi, he naturally made progress in those 3,000 years of practice, despite the lack of real combat experience to know his exact tier. Now, after the battle with the Bald Time Lord, Lin Yuan immediately understood. If I could create the Tai Shi, the second form of the innate 5 great, my strength would significantly increase. Lin Yuan's face broke into a smile. Innate 5 great. Each form provides comprehensive enhancement. Based on Lin Yuan's estimation, if he could develop Tai Shi, his strength might reach the threshold of a legendary lord, that is, the last 8,000 tribulations within the 10 billion, 8,000 tribulations of the second tier. It's known that among the 3 immortal emperors of the third origin world, the strongest 3-life immortal emperor halted at the 10 billionth tribulation. And the 3-life immortal emperor was the most gifted being in the third origin world, the first red dust immortal, the first immortal king, the first immortal emperor, and the greatest beneficiary of that illusory world. Take it slow. Lin Yuan reined in his thoughts. He could feel that he was already very close to creating the second Tai. A hill entirely composed of time sand? Lin Yuan looked into his inner universe at the hill suffused with the power of time. Time sand can compensate for the wear of observing future timelines by time life and is considered hard currency among time life forms. Even Time Lords, strong as they are, often observe numerous timelines. Other than special places like one-way spacetime, the outside world can view timelines. Time Lords have already contracted their own timelines, but contracting doesn't mean they don't need to view them. It means they don't need to watch unnecessary timelines. The timelines Time Lords observe are deeply viewed through their final contracted timeline. This time mountain contains 7,680,000 pounds of time sand. Lin Yuan was pleased as he gauged the final value of the time mountain. 10,000 pounds of time sand can command a new time life for millions of years. 7,680,000 pounds of time sand? Though newly emerged Time Lords willingly serve under the Lord Yi Wu for the 10,000 pounds of time sand, there are also other gains and opportunities in the one-way spacetime. But undeniably, 10,000 pounds of time sand already counts as a considerable wealth. Let alone 7,680,000 pounds of time sand? Even those Time Lords close to legendary status would probably have amassed wealth around this range. Can't be too happy too soon. Lin Yuan steadied his mind, acknowledging that gaining such a substantial amount of time sand was indeed a great opportunity. But the most important thing now is to take these time sands out. If not taken out and transformed into the resources Lin Yuan requires, it's no different than not acquiring them. And in this one-way spacetime, it's fraught with dangers even if Lin Yuan is in the outer area and theoretically risk-free. Yet what if? If he encounters a Time Lord of legendary tier, with Lin Yuan's current strength, he can't even ensure survival against a third-tier legendary lord. If a legendary Time Lord takes action, Lin Yuan can only admit defeat. Of course, the possibility is very low. How rare are legendary Time Lords? Even if they enter one-way spacetime, they head straight for the depths. Why would they hover in the outskirts? Also, a legendary Time Lord may not even care for 7 or 8 million pounds of time sand. At least, the Lord Wanwei didn't value this time mountain. Other legendary Time Lords, even if not as powerful as Lord Wanwei, wouldn't lower themselves to seize this time sand. Split this time mountain into 7 million parts, then have each avatar carry them out. The true body waits outside for reception, Lin Yuan thought. Though the bald Time Lord promised not to spread the word, Lin Yuan wouldn't completely trust him, preparing for the worst. First, gradually transport the time mountain out so that even if accidents occur, the loss is bearable. Next, Lin Yuan spent 100 years. At last, he transported the time mountain, valued at over 7 million pounds of time sand, out piece by piece. No incidents occurred during this time, leading Lin Yuan to appreciate the bald Time Lord, as he truly made no moves. And this time mountain has allowed Lin Yuan to break free from poverty, becoming exceptionally wealthy among Time Lords. In the chaos void, Lin Yuan looked at the small mountain made entirely of the sands of time before him. The sands of time are formed by the convergence of the most essential forces of time, which can be divided or fused together. In order to smoothly move the time mountain out of the one-way spacetime, Lin Yuan divided it into 7 million parts. When these 7 million parts gather together again, they can once again fuse into the time mountain. No wonder beings of time love exploration so much. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. Just relying on seclusion and hard cultivation cannot accumulate so much sands of time. If he hadn't dispatched the Taiji primordial spirit into the one-way spacetime, how many years would it take to accumulate such a large amount of sands of time? This time entering the one-way spacetime can be considered a complete success. Lin Yuan thought to himself. Originally, he only planned to harvest a few thousand to 10,000 caddies of sands of time. As a result, he obtained a small mountain worth 7 to 8 million caddies of sands of time, which naturally left him very satisfied. Next, I can let the Taiji primordial spirit explore a little deeper, Lin Yuan thought in his heart. With such a large time mountain harvest, even if his current Taiji primordial spirit were to fall immediately, he wouldn't feel any distress. And by exchanging blows with the bald Time Lord, Lin Yuan also confirmed his strength range, standing as an extremely powerful second-tier lord. With this level of strength, even venturing deep into the one-way spacetime, as long as he is careful, he won't encounter much danger. Even when facing those legendary tier Time Lords, at worst, he would lose a main battle body, not affecting his other true bodies. As his strength increases and with enough harvest, Lin Yuan doesn't mind taking some risks. If he fails, he would only lose one Taiji primordial spirit. Should he gain something deeper in the one-way spacetime, even if it's not as great as this time mountain, it would far exceed slowly exploring the perimeter areas. With my current strength, I can be more assertive even in the depths of the one-way spacetime, without needing to be so timid. Lin Yuan thought secretly. Legendary tier lords are exceedingly rare, and according to Lin Yuan's current strength, under a legendary tier lord, even if he isn't a match, he can retreat unscathed. Those second-tier lords who have already touched the legend threshold and are crossing the last 8,000 tribulations might find it easy to repel Lin Yuan, but to suppress him, even if they have that ability, they wouldn't use it, because it's too time-consuming, just as Lin Yuan is unwilling to pursue the bald Time Lord. Those who have touched the legend threshold are also unwilling to chase Lin Yuan. The one-way spacetime has only opened for a few million years. Time is precious, and the Time Lords are all quite rational. As for those at the third-tier legend level, if he truly encountered one, Lin Yuan would directly choose to extinguish that Taiji primordial spirit, absolutely not giving the legendary Tier Lord any chance to directly strike at him. Finally, I can head to Green Cliff Mountain to purchase a batch of needed resources. Lin Yuan put away the Time Mountain and pondered with a thoughtful expression. With such a large batch of sands of time obtained, the first thing is naturally to quickly convert it into his own strength. Thinking of this, the past self residing in the past time-space immediately headed to the place where the Time Lords communicate, Green Cliff Mountain. Upon entering Green Cliff Mountain, Lin Yuan noticed that the avatars of the lords here were much more numerous than usual. There was even a slightly lively atmosphere. It should be due to the opening of the one-way space-time. Lin Yuan was not much surprised. The opening of the one-way space-time is a grand event in this vast dimensional gap area. Lords who hadn't shown up for ages would all head there, and being in the one-way space-time, the need for lords to exchange information greatly increases. So naturally, they would choose to enter Green Cliff Mountain to communicate. It's just, even with the vast fame of the one-way space-time to such a degree, those origin worlds I descended upon have never heard of it. Lin Yuan's expression showed slight confusion. Near the dimensional gap area where the Chaos Void was located, those with a bit of strength among time beings knew of the existence of the one-way space-time. However, the first origin world, the second origin world, and the third origin world sitting in the dimensional gap area had not heard of one-way space-time. The vast dimensional gap is too immense. Lin Yuan marveled in his heart, concluding that the distance between the two sides was too far. Even legendary tier Time Lords have not yet explored the true size of the vast dimensional gap. And there are numerous time-space layers existing between different dimensional spaces, so the distance between them is not simply a matter of spatial distance. Perhaps the several origin worlds Lin Yuan travels through were not on the same timeline as the Chaos Void. This could also explain why the dimensional gap regions where the origin worlds are located have never heard of one-way spacetime. Time-space shop. As Lin Yuan just walked in, a 12-eyed beast greeted him warmly. "I didn't expect to see you again so soon." The 12-eyed beast clearly had a strong impression of Lin Yuan. "I'm here to purchase some resources," Lin Yuan said directly. "Please take a look." The 12-eyed beast flipped its hand, and multiple light screens appeared before Lin Yuan's eyes. This one, and this one too. Lin Yuan selected dozens of raw materials and precious resources, worth 200,000 to 300,000 caddies of sands of time. "It seems you've had great gains within the one-way space-time." The 12-eyed beast looked surprised. 200,000 to 300,000 caddies of sands of time are not something a newly promoted Time Lord can produce. Even many second-tier Time Lords may not be able to take out such an amount of sands of time at once, as the wealth of Time Lords is usually concentrated in their weapons and treasures, and not necessarily in the liquidity of sands of time. "Not bad luck," Lin Yuan said. "Being able to acquire such a time mountain is indeed quite fortunate. Of course, blocking the bald Time Lord afterward relied on strength. Without strength, Lin Yuan would really just be a newly promoted ordinary Time Lord. Then, in all likelihood, he wouldn't have been able to keep the Time Mountain in the end." The bald Time Lord initially suggested splitting it in half to test Lin Yuan. If he found Lin Yuan's strength ordinary, easily manipulated by him, how could he possibly settle for just half? In a place like one-way space-time, you do need luck. The 12-eyed beast nodded, as within one-way space-time, the timeline cannot be observed. Time Lords cannot predict the future, so luck plays a big role. But you also have to be careful, it's very dangerous there too. The 12-eyed beast reminded. Especially deep inside, second-level lords fight fiercely over treasures. I've heard several second-level lords have gone mad with killing. Their main fighting bodies have fallen. Understood. Lin Yuan nodded. Wanting to make second-level Time Lords kill with such madness, the treasures they fight over must be extraordinarily precious, likely surpassing the value of the Time Mountain. Within one-way space-time, without observing the timeline, the outcomes of battles among the lords cannot be known in advance, leaving direct combat as the only way to determine victory or defeat. And in direct combat, to a certain extent, neither party can hold back, and it's not surprising for one side's main fighting body to fall. If you really encounter any danger, remember to mention my name. As long as it's not a legendary level lord, it might still help. The 12-eyed beast looked at Lin Yuan and said again. All right. Lin Yuan nodded. Here are the materials and treasures you wanted. The 12-eyed beast's mind slightly moved, and several treasure wonders emanating profound auras floated in front of Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan also took out the time sand he had prepared. These materials should be able to transform the origin clock to the peak of the second realm. In the chaos void, Lin Yuan began to reforge the origin clock. The large batch of lord-level raw materials he purchased was enough for the origin clock to evolve for a while. Wanwei spacetime. Lin Yuan continued to advance deeper. Is this the deep area? Crossing a certain boundary, Lin Yuan immediately felt the pressure of spacetime around him increase significantly, understanding that he had entered the depths of Wanwei spacetime. Here, even second-level lords have the possibility of falling. I must also be careful. Lin Yuan, albeit confident, wasn't going to be too flamboyant. He immediately restrained his aura and randomly chose a direction to explore. Time passed. 8,000 years went by in the blink of an eye. I've acquired treasures worth approximately 200,000 caddies of time sand. Lin Yuan flew within the deep regions of Wanwei spacetime, feeling quite satisfied. Here, the probability of discovering treasures is indeed much higher than in the outer regions. Though treasures worth 200,000 caddies of time sand are far less valuable than the Time Mountain, the latter is considered a great opportunity, not something one encounters frequently. Boom! An unusual aura emanated from afar, with 7 distinctly different forces interweaving. What is that? Lin Yuan looked from afar. In that area filled with 7 forces, Lin Yuan vaguely saw a small 10-meter-high tree, radiating 7 colors, each emitting distinctly different aura waves. Is this the 7 deities' treasure tree? Lin Yuan's pupils slightly contracted. The 7 deities' treasure tree, a 13th-tier supreme wonder, is worth millions of caddies of time sand. The use of the 7 deities' treasure tree is to make a Time Lord's body tend toward perfection. In endless ages past, there was a path of transcendence alongside the perfect soul, known as the perfect body. The goal was to nurture a perfect mind from a perfect body. However, eventually, a lord proved that this perfect body path couldn't lead to transcendence. Nevertheless, transforming the body to reach a perfect level can enhance a Time Lord's strength. And the 7 deities' treasure tree can promote the perfection of the body. Although the 7 deities' treasure tree can't directly make the body perfect, it can bring it close to perfection. Even so, for Time Lords, this wonder is extremely valuable, with the listed price being millions of caddies of time sand, though it's practically priceless. Many Time Lords are already eyeing this 7 deities' treasure tree. Lin Yuan noticed around the 7 deities' treasure tree, there were 7 or 8 auras, all at the peak of the second-level Time Lords. Now, since the 7 deities' treasure tree has yet to mature, these 7 or 8 peak-level Time Lords haven't made a move, merely standing off against each other. I must compete for it. Lin Yuan gazed from afar at the 7 deities' treasure tree, craving it intensely within his heart. The martial arts evolution road specializes in the physical body, making this treasure, which greatly nurtures the body, a necessity for Lin Yuan. Even though Lin Yuan was already at the peak of the second level 8,000 years ago, and despite not yet establishing the Taisher method, his strength has grown significantly over the 8,000 years, equivalent to a second-level lord past the 9 billionth tribulation. 7 or 8 peak-level second-level lords, plus those hiding in the shadows. If I want to compete, I must fight swiftly and decisively, and retreat immediately once I have it. Lin Yuan also hid nearby, silently watching the soon-to-mature 7 deities' treasure tree. Just several decades passed. The 7 forces spreading from the 7 deities' treasure tree began to subtly merge. Is it now? Lin Yuan suddenly erupted, his body rising with terrifying Tai Chu force. The chaotic origin Taiji Dao surged like a sharp sword piercing through the Lord's sealed area, suddenly appearing beside the 7 deities' treasure tree. Collect! Lin Yuan directly took away the seven-god tree, then transformed into a ray of primordial light, once again breaking through the blockade of numerous Time Lords. In just an instant, Lin Yuan's presence vanished from the perception range of all the Time Lords. Who was that? The second-level Time Lords, who had been confronting each other, were somewhat perplexed. They were just about to take action, only to find the seven-god tree gone. Such terrifying power! Forget it. Let's not chase. The second-level peak lords in confrontation, as well as the lords hidden in the shadows, sighed inwardly with no intention to pursue. Firstly, the power of the lord who just took the seven-god tree was too terrifying. If they hadn't succeeded in taking it, they might have had a chance to fight if they joined forces. But since the seven-god tree was already taken, there was no need to pursue. To try to retake the seven-god tree from such an existence, the hope is too slim. In the distance, at the same time, there were Time Lords observing the seven-god tree. One of the Time Lords had a solemn expression, and behind them stood over 10 time lifeforms, including the mother of the Screw Realm, Wan Chengkong. This solemn-faced Time Lord was Lord Chu Wei, the Time Lord of the area near the Chaos Void. This time, with the opening of the Wanwei spacetime, Lord Chu Wei gathered many time lifeforms to scout within the Wanwei spacetime. At this moment, Lord Chu Wei was introducing the Time Lords confronting each other near the seven-god tree to the time lifeforms behind him. Lord Chu Wei knew his own strength and had no intention of competing for the seven-god tree, but since he encountered such a treasure, watching from afar was enough to satisfy his curiosity. That is the Black Light Lord, a second-level peak lord. If you encounter it, you must not offend it. That is the Lord of Sky Silver, also a second-level peak lord. With your strength, you cannot withstand its past time-space erasure. That is Lord Qingmu. Lord Chu Wei introduced to the many time lifeforms behind him these second-level peak time lords, who were hard to encounter even once, let alone 7 or 8 gathered together. The mother of the Screw Realm, Wan Chengkong, was also listening intently, as information about lords would be costly even to purchase, so learning from Lord Chu Wei was absolutely a gain. Just then, a hazy primordial light flashed from afar, directly penetrating the blockade ring of 7 or 8 second-level peak lords, taking the seven-god tree and disappearing again, transforming into primordial light and flashing away again. Only after the seven-god tree disappeared did the 7 or 8 second-level peak lords react, but still did not take any action. What was that? The time lifeforms standing behind Lord Chu Wei were incredulous. The seven-god tree just disappeared like that? Lord Chu Wei also hadn't quite reacted. It was only a moment later that he spoke with lingering fear. The existence that just took the seven-god tree, its power is far more terrifying than other second-level peak lords. If you encounter it, don't even bother escaping. If it wants to kill you, there's no way to escape. Lord Chu Wei steadied himself, then said with some shock, "Strange, such an existence. I have never heard of it." Lord Chu Wei did not notice the hint of incredulity in the expressions of the two-time lifeforms behind him, mother of the Screw Realm, Wan Chengkong. The level of the primordial light was overpowering, but the faint Taiji aura within it seemed somewhat familiar to the two-time lifeforms. How does it seem like the galaxy? The mother of the Screw Realm thought she must have felt it wrong, having sparred with Lin Yuan several times and faced the chaotic origin Taiji Dao. That's how they perceived the similarity between them. Chaos Void. An avatar of Lin Yuan was chatting leisurely with the mother of the Screw Realm, Wan Chengkong. The three-time lifeforms would gather every so often, and they got along quite well. "Ha ha ha, galaxy, we were just in that Wanwei spacetime watching the battle over the seven-god tree, which was ultimately taken by a mysterious powerhouse, whose methods were somewhat similar to yours." Wan Chengkong looked at Lin Yuan with interest. "Galaxy? Did you perhaps gain a legacy left by that one?" The mother of the Screw Realm nodded in admiration. The legacy left by such a powerhouse would be earth-shattering. "No wonder you're so powerful, Galaxy. Such an opportunity." Wan Chengkong and the mother of the Screw Realm looked at Lin Yuan with a bit of envy. Powerful as Lord Chu Wei was, even he revered that mysterious powerhouse. These time lifeforms could only look up in awe. Of course, Wan Chengkong and the mother of the Screw Realm were only envious and had no other thoughts, merely sighing at Lin Yuan's incredible fortune. 7 God Tree? Lin Yuan looked at the two-time lifeforms. Within Wanwei spacetime, the timeline couldn't be observed, and causality was suppressed, so he hadn't noticed that the mother of the Screw Realm and Wan Chengkong were nearby. Yes, who exactly was that mysterious lord who took the 7 God Tree? Even Lord Chu Wei didn't know their identity. Wan Chengkong was very curious. The mother of the Screw Realm also looked at Lin Yuan with curiosity. Who? Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. It's nothing mysterious, that was me. The mother of the Screw Realm and Wan Chengkong were both stunned upon hearing this. Mother of the Screw Realm and Wan Chengkong understand very well how highly Lord Chu Wei regards that mysterious lord. They have also witnessed the other party easily breaking through the blockade circle of 7 or 8 Second Realm Peak Lords, taking the 7 God Treasure Tree and leaving nonchalantly. No lord dared to pursue. Thus, they developed a curiosity about this mysterious lord. Additionally, with Lin Yuan seemingly having some connection to this lord, they instinctively asked out of curiosity. However, when they heard Lin Yuan's answer, they were somewhat stunned, finding it incomprehensible. That mysterious lord who is likely approaching the legendary threshold, is he the galaxy standing before them? How is that possible? Mother of the Screw Realm and Wan Chengkong, both time lifeforms, almost thought they had misheard. Seeing this, Lin Yuan casually explained, "The 7 God Treasure Tree is of some use to me, so I took action to seize it." With Lin Yuan's current power, there was no need to conceal his strength. The 7 God Treasure Tree, although precious, was only so for ordinary lords. But in Lin Yuan's hands, even if other lords knew that Lin Yuan possessed such a rare treasure, who would dare come and snatch it? In the vast dimensional gaps, power is the foundation. Lord Wanwei holds countless treasures, yet no one dares to seize them while he lives. So that's the reason. Mother of the Screw Realm and Wan Chengkong were deep in thought. Although Lin Yuan's answer was incredible, the two-time lifeforms immediately believed most of it. They understood Lin Yuan's character. He would not lie about such matters. Besides, who would dare impersonate such a powerful lord? One might unwittingly bear the consequences. Galaxy, your strength? Wan Chengkong asked, barely calming his nerves, voicing his doubt. Beside him, Mother of the Screw Realm also focused her attention to listen. Why Lin Yuan took the 7 God Treasure Tree was of no concern to the two-time lifeforms, nor a surprise. What surprised Mother of the Screw Realm and Wan Chengkong was Lin Yuan's strength. Not long ago, Lin Yuan was still fighting back and forth with the Second Realm Grey Ancestor. Now he stands unrivaled among the many Time Lords within the Wanwei space. Such a transformation in strength, and from a First Realm Time lifeform all the way to a Second Realm Peak Time Lord in how short a time. Mother of the Screw Realm and Wan Chengkong did not know that when Lin Yuan fought Grey Ancestor, his strength was not at the Second Realm, but at the First Realm, just entering the 13th stage of the First Realm. Recently, I've had some breakthroughs, Lin Yuan said, looking at the two-time lifeforms. Some breakthroughs? Mother of the Screw Realm and Wan Chengkong both shuddered inside. Is this considered just some breakthroughs? Do you need me to protect you in the Wanwei space? Lin Yuan asked. He had a good impression of Mother of the Screw Realm and Wan Chengkong. When these two-time lifeforms first visited Lin Yuan, they offered several £100 of time sand. For time lifeforms, several £100 of time sand is no small amount, and at that time, Lin Yuan's demonstrated strength was only at a relatively strong level within Second Realm Time lifeforms. So Lin Yuan made the offer. With his current power, protecting two ordinary time lifeforms was extremely simple. The owner of the time shop, just by name, could make even non-legendary Time Lords wary. Lin Yuan at this moment could achieve a similar effect. Galaxy Lord, in the Wanwei space you need to contend for treasures. Do not worry about us. Wan Chengkong quickly replied. To reach the 13th stage, none were fools. Lin Yuan offered them protection, which might be genuine, but if they were to take advantage of it, that would be foolish. Indeed, even in the worst-case scenario, we would only lose a primary battle body which we could recover in not too long. But if because of us, It delayed your contention for treasures, then we, Mother of the Screw Realm, also quickly responded. Given Lin Yuan's level, the treasures he contends for could not be repaid even if they sold themselves. If there is danger, just mention my name. Lin Yuan did not insist further and spoke succinctly. Using his name was not because of its great reputation. Lin Yuan had not acted much, so his name wasn't widely spread. But mentioning Lin Yuan's name would allow him to know, and if not too far away, he could immediately assist. Okay. Thank you, Galaxy Lord. Mother of the Screw Realm and Wan Chengkong expressed their gratitude, visibly moved. Mother of the Screw Realm and Wan Chengkong, both time life forms, ended their casual chat with Lin Yuan in a daze. Galaxy Lord, is that mysterious Lord? Mother of the Screw Realm took a deep breath, her voice filled with disbelief. Even having accepted this fact, Mother of the Screw Realm still found it incredible. According to the information they had, the Galaxy Lord should be a time life form from the Chaos Void, having not experienced even a full Great Cataclysm cycle. Under such circumstances, to possess power approaching the legendary Lord level? Fortunately, I didn't try to snatch that heart of the heavenly river. Mother of the Screw Realm thought with a lingering sense of relief amidst her shock. It is foreseeable that if she had attempted to pick up a bargain, while Lin Yuan and Grey Ancestor were battling, the outcome would not have been favorable. There is also the possibility that the Galaxy Lord was originally a lord who, for some purpose, integrated into the Chaos Void to retrain and is now regaining their strength? Wan Chengkong couldn't help but voice. Such a premier dimension space as the Chaos Void could not be easily handled by ordinary time life forms, nor could Time Lords easily shake it, but should they be willing to pay a heavy price, a Time Lord might still integrate into it. What is so special about the Chaos Void that a powerhouse like the Galaxy Lord would pay such a tragic price to merge into it? The Mother of the Screw Realm shook her head and said, "The First Realm and Second Realm beings of time are very interested in comprehending the operation of the origin Tao of different dimensional spaces, but the Time Lords. What the Lords pursue is the path of transcendence. Unless it's some special dimensional space, normal dimensional spaces find it difficult to attract the Lord's attention, let alone paying a tragic price to merge into it." This, Wan Chengkong also didn't know how to explain. Regardless of whether the Galaxy Lord was originally a lord or reached the lord level in this cycle of great destruction, it's beyond our speculation. The Mother of the Screw Realm said. Indeed, Wan Chengkong nodded. Even a strong being like Lord Chu Wei is trembling in front of the Galaxy Lord, let alone them. Those beings of time in the Chaos Void, they really have good luck. Wan Chengkong sighed and said. They too came from a top-tier dimensional space as beings of time, but after their home dimension was destroyed, they ventured into dimensional gaps, wandering everywhere, experiencing many calamities to finally achieve what they have now. And those beings of time in the Chaos Void, although they have not yet left their home dimensional space, it is foreseeable that with the protection of the Galaxy Lord, their future path of cultivation will be smoother by 1,000-fold compared to them. Indeed, the Mother of the Screw Realm sighed. The Third Origin World. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, observing the virtual world not far away. Still too far, need to get a bit closer. Lin Yuan got up and contacted the three-life Immortal Emperor and the other two Immortal Emperors. Tian Yuan, are you saying that we should join forces to go deeper into the virtual world? The three-life Immortal Emperor's expression was slightly grave. The other two Immortal Emperors also looked solemn. Tian Yuan, this virtual world has a significant background, definitely related to a legendary level lord. Even now, the pressure we are bearing is enormous. The three Immortal Emperors plus Lin Yuan, total 4, positioned extremely close to the virtual world, while those Red Dust Immortals and Immortal Kings were much farther away from the virtual world. The main reason is that the Red Dust Immortals and Immortal Kings cannot withstand the pressure brought by the extremely close proximity to the virtual world. Everyone knows that the closer you get to the virtual world, the more you are affected, but you also have to be able to get close. No problem. I've recently had a breakthrough in power, and I can give it a try, Lin Yuan said. He didn't dare to venture deeper into the virtual world alone. Bringing the three-life Immortal Emperor and other lords along, so they could take care of each other in case of danger. A breakthrough. Immortal Emperor Dao Yu looked at Lin Yuan with a slightly puzzled expression. Then let's start preparing. Emperor Wu Yu said. He didn't believe teaming up would allow them to venture much deeper into the virtual world. Currently, they were already at their limits, and going deeper required more than just a power breakthrough. But since Lin Yuan suggested it, they might as well try, letting Lin Yuan realize the difference is beneficial too. Rumbling. Soon, Lin Yuan decisively took action and ventured into the virtual world. The overwhelming pressure force swept over. Even the chaotic origin Dao would collapse. But Lin Yuan, using the power of Tai Chu, caused the endless binding pressure to dissipate the moment it approached. This, Immortal Emperor Dao Yu widened his eyes. Immediately follow. Seeing this, the three-life Immortal Emperor acted without hesitation. Emperor Wu Yu did the same, and Immortal Emperor Dao Yu quickly reacted. The three Immortal Emperors and Lin Yuan joined forces, continuously approaching the virtual world, stopping only when they were about to reach the membrane wall of the virtual world, faintly seeing the chaotic scenes inside. Tian Yuan, your strength? After settling down a bit, Immortal Emperor Dao Yu's tone was somewhat incredulous. Earlier, while approaching the virtual world, mainly Lin Yuan and the three-life Immortal Emperor bore most of the pressure. As for Emperor Wu Yu and himself, Immortal Emperor Dao Yu, they basically breezed through. The pressure they carried together was not even a tenth of what Lin Yuan endured. Tian Yuan, you've been too modest. The three-life Immortal Emperor remarked. Even I might not be your opponent now. Although they hadn't directly sparred with Lin Yuan, from the pressure both bore while approaching the virtual world, the three-life Immortal Emperor was sure Lin Yuan was not much weaker than himself. Immortal Emperor Dao Yu and Emperor Wu Yu exchanged glances, both feeling inexplicably shocked. They had intended to advise Lin Yuan about the difficulty of getting close to the virtual world. And now? How do you feel now? Lin Yuan looked at the virtual world close at hand. Very good. The three-life Immortal Emperor nodded. If not for you, Tian Yuan, we wouldn't know how long it would take to get this close. Immortal Emperor Dao Yu couldn't help but say that, by their estimation, only a substantial power boost for the three-life Immortal Emperor or them both reaching the level of the three-life Immortal Emperor could achieve it. Lin Yuan smiled without saying much. What is the background of this virtual world? Lin Yuan looked at the three-life Immortal Emperor and asked. The virtual world was not an object of the great wilderness origin world but fell into it from the vast dimensional gap. I'm not sure. The three-life Immortal Emperor shook his head. When the virtual world fell into the great wilderness origin world, he had just entered the red dust immortal realm, becoming a being of time not long ago, only sensing the entire world tremble, and later vaguely detecting the presence of immortal material. Given your cultivation speed, Tian Yuan, figuring out the origin of this virtual world is just a matter of time. Immortal Emperor Dao Yu said from the side, having witnessed Lin Yuan's rapid growth firsthand. Not long ago, Lin Yuan had just entered the second realm, and now he's already reaching or even surpassing the three-life Immortal Emperor. I feel it might not be that simple. Lin Yuan stared at the virtual world, feeling an overwhelming sense of oppression, more so than even one-way space-time. Chaos Void. Lin Yuan looked at the seven-god treasure tree before him. After the Taiji primordial spirit obtained this rare artifact, it was immediately sent out, and only now did it reach Lin Yuan's true body. With danger lurking in one-way space-time, if Lin Yuan had only obtained ordinary treasures, they might not have been sent out so quickly. But something as valuable as the seven-god treasure tree, worth millions of pounds of the sands of time, it would definitely be sent to the true body as quickly as possible to secure it. If it remained with the Taiji primordial spirit, who knows what might happen. The Taiji primordial spirit still faces the possibility of falling within one-way space-time. The seven-god treasure tree. Lin Yuan observed the aura of this rare treasure, sensing the peculiar energy it nurtured inside, mysteriously attracting the physical body. So magical. Lin Yuan suppressed the body's desire and continued observing the seven-god treasure tree. Lin Yuan had originally thought his body was already flawless enough. Even if not reaching a perfect body, it wasn't far off. But now, Sensing the strange aura inside the seven-god treasure tree, he realized there was still a long way to go to achieve a truly perfect body. Not to mention reaching a perfect body, Lin Yuan was far from attaining a near-perfect body level. This perfection is not just about the degree of strength but a deeper level of perfection. The Lord Wanwei, he probably not only achieved the perfect soul level but most likely the perfect body level as well. Lin Yuan thought to himself. It's just that because Lord Wanwei was not the first to reach the perfect body level, the outside world was unaware. Although the perfect body has been proven unable to transcend, it certainly enhances one's strength. And for me, the more, the better. Lin Yuan first observed many future timelines, ensuring that the seven-god treasure tree would not pose any hidden dangers to him, and then began absorbing it immediately. Buzzing as the strange force entered Lin Yuan's body, it merged into every microparticle. Currently, every microparticle in Lin Yuan's body is composed of 33 basic units, nurturing a vast particle world. The integration of the strange force from the seven-god treasure tree immediately began transforming every particle within Lin Yuan's body, rapidly advancing towards a higher level. As Lin Yuan's true body refined the seven divine treasure tree, the Taiji primordial spirit was continuously exploring the depths of Wanwei's spacetime. The vast and expansive depths of Wanwei's spacetime could only be ventured into by Time Lords who have survived billions of calamities, starting at the second tier. And above that, there are those at the peak of the second tier who are beginning the last 8,000 calamities as Time Lords. Swoosh! A Time Lord examined a certain area cautiously. His name was Lord Huangfeng, having just survived the 10th billion and one calamity among the 10 billion 8,000 calamities, reaching the threshold of legend as a Time Lord. Last time surviving the calamity, I nearly failed. Lord Huangfeng surveyed his surroundings. If I can achieve great gains in Wanwei's spacetime this time, I'll have confidence for the next calamity. Infinite calamities is the path of transcendence with the highest hope among the three paths, with the largest number of Time Lords also choosing this transcendence path. Compared to infinite origins, infinite calamities provides timely feedback, and each calamity survived enhances strength. Therefore, unless there are special advantages on the other two paths of transcendence, most Time Lords choose infinite calamities as their path of transcendence. It's said that the last few dozen calamities of the 10 billion 8,000 are particularly difficult, rendering real-world strength and methods useless. Lord Huangfeng thought silently to himself. The calamities he had survived so far were considered standard, allowing him to use his own methods and strength. Thus, receiving benefits within Wanwei's spacetime can aid in surviving calamities. It's said that the final stage's 3 billion and 3,000 calamities are extraordinary, with no known means of completion. Lord Huangfeng sighed. Such a desperate path of transcendence, yet it's the most hopeful of realization among the three paths of transcendence. What is that? At that moment, while cautiously exploring, Lord Huangfeng's expression suddenly changed, glancing towards a nearby mountain peak. This mountain peak appeared ordinary, but a vague, mysterious aura permeated the surroundings. A valuable artifact. This is a valuable artifact deep within Wanwei's spacetime. Lord Huangfeng immediately speculated, elated within. He cautiously approached the mountain peak. Being cautious, Lord Huangfeng still conjured an incarnation to enter the mountain peak. Within Wanwei's spacetime, the timeline is hazy and cannot be observed, so only an incarnation can be used to explore the path. Of course, some Time Lords specifically hire time entities for exploration. But Lord Huangfeng did not do so. So many rare treasures. Through the perspective of his incarnation, Lord Huangfeng saw numerous treasures within the mountain. Each rare treasure casually was valued at tens of thousands of pounds of time sand. These rare treasures are enveloped in a ban. My incarnation strength is too weak to break the ban. Lord Huangfeng frowned, and after carefully examining the surroundings again, especially the mountain peak in front, he pondered for a while and decided to enter personally. If he hesitated any longer and other lords discovered it, the rare treasures within the mountain might not necessarily all belong to him, Lord Huangfeng. just as Lord Huangfeng entered the mountain peak. Shoo! A surge of darkness swept over, enveloping Lord Huangfeng within. Is it a trap? Lord Huangfeng's heart skipped a beat. Upon discovering the peak, he considered whether it was a trap, but ultimately couldn't resist his greed. Darkness spread, making Lord Huangfeng feel suppressed on all fronts. I shouldn't destroy this main battle body just yet. Lord Huangfeng surveyed the surroundings. The more powerful one is, the greater the cost of crafting a main battle body. After all, the strength of the main battle body is not much weaker than the true body, requiring a vast accumulation of resources and rare treasures to achieve. So unless there's no chance of survival, no lord would willingly abandon a main battle body. Lin Yuan's demand from himself was to destroy the Taiji primordial spirit when encountering a legendary lord. In other words, unless the enemy is a legendary lord, there's no need to abandon hastily. At this moment, Lord Huangfeng did the same. Even knowing he had fallen into an ambush trap, he planned to assess the situation first. Darkness converged, forming three indistinct figures, observing Lord Huangfeng. Lord Huangfeng, the lead indistinct figure spoke, "Don't struggle. With your strength, you can't break free." Humph. This time I, Huangfeng, failed. Lord Huangfeng snorted coldly, glancing at the surroundings. It's just you daring to carry such weapons into Wanwei's spacetime. Aren't you afraid of it all being for naught? With Lord Huangfeng's strength, it was revealed that the dark domain suppressing him was a lord-level weapon, and a very powerful one at that. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so easily suppressed. Within Wanwei's spacetime, crises are everywhere and lords coming in wouldn't carry too many valuable weapons and treasures to prevent excessive loss. That's none of your concern. The lead dark indistinct figure shook his head. Speak. What are the terms? Lord Huangfeng spoke directly without nonsense. He could discern that the strength of the three dark indistinct figures surpassed his own, likely approaching the level of a legendary lord. Such powerful entities, especially three, combined with the suppression of the dark domain, Lord Huangfeng knew he had no hope of escape. 500,000 pounds of time sand. Just hand over 500,000 pounds of time sand, and we'll let you go. The lead dark indistinct figure stated. 500,000 pounds of time sand? Lord Huangfeng's expression was grim. His exploration gains this time only amounted to roughly 2 million gene of time sand. But the other party actually demanded he bring out 5 million gene of time sand? We're not asking for much. The leading dark shadowy figure looked at Lord Huangfeng. To forge your main battle body, it would cost at least 8 million gene of time sand, plus the time needed for the process. Then 5 million gene of time sand it is. Lord Huangfeng was silent for a moment, then nodded and said, There's also one more condition we have. The leading dark shadowy figure suddenly said, Speak. Lord Huangfeng frowned but did not object. You must swear by the path of transcendence not to reveal any information about us. The leading dark shadow said. No problem. Lord Huangfeng said. This wasn't hard to do. Even if the dark figures hadn't demanded it, he wouldn't spread the word. The pit he fell into was of little benefit if other lords avoid it, bringing no advantage to Lord Huangfeng. Soon, the deal was completed between both parties. Of course, it was concluded outside. As for within the multiverse spacetime, Lord Huangfeng wasn't carrying many treasures, and anything valuable had already been given away. This was why the three dark figures didn't act directly but instead chose to initiate a transaction. The most valuable thing Lord Huangfeng possessed was his main battle body, and the main battle body could be obliterated with a thought. If the three dark figures acted directly, they wouldn't gain much in practice. After Lord Huangfeng left, the mountain that had trapped him disappeared into thin air. Which three lords could it be? Lords of such strength? There aren't many. Lord Huangfeng quickly distanced himself, thoughts flashing through his mind. In a hidden space, three dark figures appeared. The darkness receded, revealing three Time Lords. The leading figure had bright red hair, its aura muddy and viscous, constantly eroding the surrounding space-time. The other two Time Lords, one entirely clad in scales, the other of a phantom-like form, not resembling a physical body. Ha ha ha, another 5 million gene of time sand in our hands. The scaly Time Lord's face broke into a smile, clearly in good spirits. To a lord beneath the legendary lord level, 5 million gene of time sand was no small number. That Lord Huang Feng isn't strong. Demanding 5 million gene of time sand was already the limit. Asking for more might force him to fight to the death. The phantom-like Time Lord on the right said, "Understood." The scaly Time Lord nodded, then sighed, "Only within this multiverse space-time could we act this way. In the outside world, with Time Lords able to examine the future timelines, it would never be so easy for them to fall into a trap. Within the multiverse space-time, with limited time and other lords of similar rank as competitors, under many conditions, their ambushes have yielded great results. With our strength, along with the weapons we carry, who can oppose us if the legendary lord doesn't show up?" The scaly Time Lord spoke with confidence. Carrying powerful weaponry certainly increases the risk, but the benefits are equally obvious. For a lord, wielding a powerful weapon significantly boosts combat power. Besides, even encountering a legendary lord, with our big brother here, we're not afraid either. The scaly Time Lord glanced at the red-haired leading figure. Time Lords can observe both the past and future, as well as travel to them. However, most Time Lords travel to the past. As for the future, there are too many variables and it offers little help in transcendence. Lords adept in future methods are extremely rare, and the red-haired Time Lord specializes in future-killing moves. In his mastery of the future, he has even seen 362 great cataclysm cycles ahead, knowing he will become a legendary lord. This is why the three dared to bring weaponry into the multiverse spacetime. Lords beneath the legendary level are not their match, and even against a legendary lord, they have the ability to resist. Yes, if really pushed, our big brother could summon his future self as a legendary lord. Who could stop that? The phantom-like Time Lord said. Current spacetime lords can travel to the past and thus change it. For future spacetime lords, traveling to the current spacetime is akin to their past. Lords can generally see their future selves, but it holds little meaning. Even Time Lords see only limited futures, one great cataclysm cycle ahead, 10, 100, past a certain distant future. Time Lords struggle to involve themselves. A future self within this range? How much stronger could it be than a current spacetime lord? Furthermore, a future self acting in the current spacetime would be suppressed, unlikely to surpass a current spacetime lord greatly. Only a future self achieving a vast realm crossover can resist suppression and effectively act in the present. Nevertheless, such a future self is how many great cataclysm cycles away? Most Time Lords cannot even see such distant future selves, let alone sense or summon them. All right, time to go. At that moment, the red-haired Time Lord spoke. After each successful trap set, they change location and alter the trap's form. This time it was a mountain, next time a lake, the one after that a barren hill. In the deep multiverse spacetime, the existence of a treasure is judged by aura, not form. As long as a mysterious aura emanates, there is a possibility a treasure is hidden within. In a blink, 100 years passed. Lin Yuan's Taiji primordial spirit continued exploring the multiverse spacetime depths. Over there, Lin Yuan suddenly looked in a direction where the aura was boiling, as if multiple Time Lords were clashing. Whoosh! Lin Yuan immediately headed in that direction. However, by the time Lin Yuan arrived, he found the battle was almost over. Those who dare approach will be my enemies. A towering Time Lord with a pair of gray horns exuded a terrifying aura, forcing more than 10 Time Lords to retreat. Behind the gray-horned Time Lord, there was an azure amber exuding a mysterious aura, suggesting the presence of a treasure within. Didn't expect it to be this lord. Lin Yuan, upon seeing the gray-horned Time Lord, immediately gave up on contesting. This lord is known as the Time Lord of Epoch. Over 10 great cataclysm cycles ago, He had already survived the last of 1,008,000 tribulations, and now likely attempts the last 3. Lin Yuan glanced around, seeing the more than 10 lords standing, having touched the threshold of the legend. It was clear that before Lin Yuan arrived, the Time Lord of Epic had battled these threshold-reaching lords and gained the upper hand, seizing the Azure Lake behind him. Too late. Lin Yuan sighed internally, having no intention towards the Azure Lake behind the Time Lord of Epic. To act now would require facing the Time Lord of Epic alone. Lin Yuan lacked the confidence. The Time Lord of Epic's suppression of more than 10 near-legendary lords testified to his power. Lin Yuan had no intention of challenging him. Humph! Seeing no other lords approaching, the Greyhorn Time Lord snorted coldly and turned towards the Azure Lake behind him. Such an aura! The Time Lord of Epic's gaze was full of desire as he swiftly moved towards the Azure Lake. In the next moment, the instant the Time Lord of Epic touched the Azure Lake, he disappeared. The Time Lord of Epic has entered? Alas, who knows what treasure lies within? The more than 10 defeated Time Lords conversed from afar. However, due to their fear of the Time Lord of Epic's strength, none dared to approach at this time. Lin Yuan's eyes showed a hint of surprise. Vaguely, he detected a flicker of darkness within the Azure Lake the moment the Time Lord of Epic disappeared. Something's wrong. Lin Yuan immediately grew alert. The owner of the time-space shop had repeatedly warned him that in the one-way spacetime, the greatest danger was not from the one-way spacetime itself. Lord Wanwei harbored no significant malice toward future lords, and even though some tests might have been left behind, they generally wouldn't be life-threatening. In one-way spacetime, the real danger comes from other lords. Strictly speaking, all lords who enter one-way spacetime are competitors. Slaying a lord, even if it's just the main combat body of the lord, yields far more benefits than exploring within one-way spacetime. Could this lake be a trap? Lin Yuan gazed from afar at the Azure Lake, noticing the dark energy that flashed at the moment Tianshi vanished. The entire lake was extremely integrated with one-way spacetime, which was why Tianshi chose to approach the lake directly. The crucial sites within one-way spacetime all have similar energies, which are difficult for other lords to mimic. Even Lin Yuan didn't initially have any doubts about the Azure Lake. If it weren't for the anomaly at the moment Tianshi disappeared, these associations wouldn't have arisen. Not only Lin Yuan, but some other lords also sensed something. The dark energy flowing from the Azure Lake was incompatible with the lake itself. Let's see if Tianshi will emerge. Lin Yuan carefully observed the Azure Lake. Whether this is a trap depends on whether Tianshi can emerge and how he appears. Soon, more than a dozen breaths passed. Then suddenly, the previously calm Azure Lake began to boil abruptly. Large swathes of Azure Lake water exploded, revealing infinite dark power. With just your power, you dare threaten me? A towering figure emanating a terrifying aura appeared, the surrounding spacetime continuously evaporating. This imposing figure with gray curved horns was indeed Tianshi. Tianshi forcibly tore himself from the Azure Lake, unleashing deeper levels of dark power. Layer upon layer of dark fields stacked endlessly and mightily. Sneaky! Show yourselves! Tianshi roared, as he was accidentally pulled into the depths of the lake. 3 figures hiding in the darkness revealed themselves, demanding he hand over 20 million pounds of time sand. In the past, Tianshi might have agreed, as the cost to forge his main combat body exceeded 20 million pounds of time sand. However, before one-way spacetime opened, Tianshi made a breakthrough, overcoming the second-to-last ordeal out of 10,800,000 ordeals, and was just 1 ordeal away from reaching the legendary lord level. And to ensure sufficient gains during this opening of one-way spacetime, to prepare for the last ordeal of the 10,800,000 ordeals, Tianshi secretly brought in a main combat weapon. With the current second-level ultimate power and that main combat weapon, Tianshi considers himself the strongest below the legendary lord. The dark power weapon wielded by those 3 dark figures can easily suppress lords who have only touched the threshold of legend. But to suppress Tianshi, it's not enough. This is why Tianshi chose to resist directly. If he knew he was not an opponent and had no hope, Tianshi would naturally make the most sensible choice, honestly handing over 20 million pounds of time sand. But Tianshi has confidence in countering those three dark figures and certainly won't submit to this pressure. What? That lake is a trap? I sensed something abnormal in Tianshi's aura when he entered. Each Time Lord had an epiphany, simultaneously growing more shocked by Tianshi's power. Tianshi didn't go all out when facing us. Yes, the dark energy from the lake was enough to easily suppress us. Yet Tianshi broke free, holding back. Tianshi certainly held back. Many Time Lords looked serious, as they were all at the pinnacle of the second level, approaching the threshold of legacy with keen vision. They immediately sensed the terrifying power of Tianshi. That is true second-level ultimate power. So strong. Lin Yuan also looked serious. Compared to Tianshi now, even his true self is slightly weaker. Unless I create the second stance of the innate 5 great, or truly step into the Time Lord level, I won't be a match for this Tianshi. Lin Yuan thought inwardly. Only these two areas of improvement could mean a transformation and qualitative change. I wonder how many ordeals Tianshi has overcome? Lin Yuan watched Tianshi standing in endless darkness. First, it can be confirmed that Tianshi hasn't started the final stages of the 3,300,000 ordeals. Infinite ordeals are divided into 3 levels or stages: 36,200,000 ordeals, 10,800,000 ordeals, 3,300,000 ordeals. The 3,300,000 ordeals are the final stage, and lords at this level are known as legendary lords. Compared to the previous 2 levels, the means of legendary lords are more elusive. Vast and expansive one-way spacetime provides unbounded ages for each Time Lord to explore, yet it was merely created by Lord Wanwei at the last moment after failing to break through the 14th rank as the perfect time being. Of course, Lord Wanwei's strength is extremely formidable even among the legendary lords. But even the weakest of legendary lords has power surpassing the ultimate lords of the second level. If Tianshi were truly a legendary lord, he wouldn't have bothered with the fight against more than a dozen other lords. Rumble. Endless darkness surged, coalescing into 3 figures. These 3 figures were vague and shrouded in darkness, making them indistinguishable. Tianshi, you've come this far too. The leading dark figure stared at the Lord Tianshi for a while and then shook its head, saying, "In that case, you can leave now." Given the strength that the Lord Tianshi displayed at this moment, the 3 of them were not confident enough to keep him, unless they used their trump cards, which were reserved for the real legendary lords. Naturally, they were unwilling to use them on the Lord Tianshi. "Leave," the Lord Tianshi sneered. "You 3, sneaky and wasting my time. Hand over 10 million pounds of the sand of time each, and I'll consider leaving." "Tianshi, you're going too far." The leading dark figure's tone was low. The eyes of the 2 dark figures behind it also looked unpleasant. Since entering the Wanwei dimension, they had always been the ones plundering other lords. When had they ever been plundered? Hand over 10 million pounds of the sand of time? Don't hand it over? Then let me see who you really are. The Lord Tianshi stepped forward, a terrifying aura sweeping across. His curved horns emitted a distorted wave, continuously penetrating and engulfing the dark forces around. Bang! 2 distinctly different forces collided. Everything in all directions was being destroyed, causing even the many Time Lords watching the battle to retreat a big step back. A confrontation between second-layer Extreme Lords. It's too rare. Indeed, even in this Wanwei dimension, such level of slaughter doesn't occur every time it opens. Many Time Lords were thrilled, and they began to call friends, more Time Lords rushing towards this location. Every opening of the Wanwei dimension attracts some truly powerful Time Lords, but even if these lords meet, they may not necessarily engage in slaughter. It was only because the Lord Tianshi was infuriated by the 3 dark figures. He had deliberately hidden his strength, and even when fighting more than 10 other lords, he didn't go all out, just to reveal it at a crucial moment. It was because the 3 dark figures exposed themselves prematurely. Buzz, buzz, buzz as the fight continued. The 3 figures no longer held back their attacks, unleashing their true power. The leading dark figure released a crimson aura, its hidden form becoming clear, with bright red hair, and an oppressive presence like muddy ground. The other two figures, one was covered in scales, the other appeared ethereal. The three figures were all extremely terrifying in power, and before they went all out, the Lord Tianxia could still stand his ground against the three, occasionally even gaining the upper hand. But once the three figures went all out, the Lord Tianxia immediately fell into a disadvantage, forced to defend. So it's them. With the three dark figures revealing their true strength, their identities could no longer be hidden. To reach the Lord level, one must have journeyed through ages and explored numerous relics. It's impossible for them to have no information leaked out. Even if their true origins couldn't be known, the methods they had used certainly had some records. It's the Blood Sea Lord, Void Spirit Lord, and Lord of Armor. Each lord had a serious expression. Among the three Time Lords, the Blood Sea Lord was the strongest, universally acknowledged as having second-layer extreme power, while the other two were slightly weaker but still in the last few trials of the 1,008,000 tribulations. The Blood Sea Lord is said to have emerged from an endless sea of blood, born when a top-dimensional space was destroyed by an external force, causing all beings inside to fall. From birth, the Blood Sea Lord possessed 12th level full power, and later easily passed the test of time cycles, gradually becoming a Time Lord, reaching second-layer extreme power. The other two lords, Void Spirit Lord and Lord of Armor, belonged to different dimensional crevice life forms, and the three of them had been adventuring together since their weaker days. Didn't expect it to be these three fiends. Many Time Lords were silently alarmed. Over endless ages, the Blood Sea Lord and the other two lords had ambushed numerous other lords, and even massacred time lifeforms on a large scale, making them notorious among the lords. I figured it was you all along. The Lord Tianxia was not surprised. There were so many Time Lords, three together, and setting traps specifically to lure other lords in to threaten and kill them. Under such restricted conditions, not many Time Lords fit. So what if you figured it out? The Blood Sea Lord was indifferent. Their reputation was already notorious. Otherwise, they wouldn't need to hide their identities to enter one-way space-time. Hiding their identities, even in front of the Time Lords who fell into the trap, was mainly because the three of them had too many enemies and a bad reputation. If they revealed their identities, some Time Lords might fight to the death without surrendering the sands of time. Crash! The Blood Sea roared, revealing the true capabilities of the Blood Sea Lord. With the help of the other two lords, they began to suppress the Tianxia Lord. It's useless. The three of you are teaming up, and with this dark weapon you can indeed suppress me, but to crush me? It's not achievable in a short time. The Tianxia Lord had switched from offense to defense, with a pair of twisted gray horns above his head forming an invisible barrier to resist the attacks from the Blood Sea Lord and the other two lords. You're stalling. The Blood Sea Lord immediately sensed the Tianxia Lord's intention. Correct. The Tianxia Lord nodded. I've already called some friends over. The three of you, it seems, will have a difficult time leaving one-way space-time this time. Many Time Lords have enmity with the Blood Sea Lord and the other two lords, both direct and indirect hatred. Troublesome indeed. The Blood Sea Lord, upon hearing this, furrowed his brow. The three of them had tried to leave, but the Tianxia Lord chose to entangle them. Big brother. The ethereal Void Spirit Lord looked at the Blood Sea Lord. If the news of the three of them appearing in one-way spacetime spread and they didn't leave in time, more and more Time Lords were likely to gather. The Time Lords who had grudges with them would very likely take action. To be enemies with many Time Lords? The Blood Sea Lord and the other two Time Lords temporarily did not have the confidence for this. And as time passes, it might even attract the attention of a legendary lord. If any legendary lord had opinions about them and took action, that would be troublesome. Most Time Lords preferred peace, like Lord Wanwei, who opened up one-way spacetime specifically before a failed breakthrough for future Time Lords. I understand. The Blood Sea Lord nodded. They entered one-way spacetime carrying a powerful weapon. If they were truly left behind, the loss would naturally be great. Tianxia, this move, I originally intended to reserve it for the legendary lords. The Blood Sea Lord overlooked the Tianshi Lord, speaking calmly. Before entering one-way spacetime, he had prepared for the worst. Even facing a legendary lord, there was hope of resistance and struggle to retreat. It was just unexpected that this trump card was used on the Tianshi Lord. Reserved for the legendary lords? The Tianshi Lord was slightly taken aback, sneering, "Are you worthy?" Lords of the second layer had little capability to resist in front of a legendary lord. The future. The Blood Sea Lord didn't say much, his mind soaring unbounded, feeling the space-time of distant time segments. In 362 great cataclysm cycles, he would become a legendary lord, a fact that was already confirmed. Feeling the future space-time, calling upon his future self as a legendary lord to lend aid in the current space-time, was the Blood Sea Lord's greatest final trump card. Whoosh! An invisible aura spread. The timeline began to blur, and faintly, behind the Blood Sea Lord, an endless blood sea loomed. What is this? The Tianshi Lord's brow twitched, staring at the Blood Sea Lord. Are you summoning your future self? Summoning one's future self was a technique most Time Lords could use, though it wasn't very significant. Most Time Lords would not experience significant transformation in the future timeline they could perceive. Summoning the future self? Lin Yuan, watching from afar, also felt stirred, carefully sensing the changes in the current timeline. He was not yet a true Time Lord, and this was the first time he witnessed such a method of summoning a future self. The future selves that the Time Lords can perceive and summon are not the future selves that Lin Yuan cultivated through the 3 lives technique. The latter is based on the current and past selves, condensed from marks on multiple future timelines, while the former is the true and undistorted future. Whether or not one has cultivated the 3 lives technique and become a Time Lord, the future indeed exists. It's just undetectable and uncallable below the Time Lord level. A Time Life being can observe future timelines, but that doesn't mean they can communicate with their future self. The Blood Sea Lord is actually summoning his future self? Could it be that the future self the Blood Sea Lord senses has already taken that step? The Time Lords watching around had serious expressions. Normally, summoning a future self is not very significant for a lord. But the Blood Sea Lord did it anyway. With the Blood Sea Lord's methods, they wouldn't do something meaningless, so there are only a few possible reasons. Your understanding is extraordinary. Observing timeline changes, enhancing your perception of the future. Compared to the tense Time Lords, Lin Yuan was caught in a form of enlightenment at the moment. The Blood Sea Lord forcefully disrupted the normal timeline, and the resulting temporal fluctuations were an enormous inspiration to Lin Yuan, who was one step away from becoming a lord. It's difficult to sense and connect with one's future without reaching the Time Lord level, which holds true for normal Time Lords. Lin Yuan naturally doesn't fall into that category. With his insight and control over the rules of the Great Path, he far surpassed ordinary Time Lords. The only barrier for Lin Yuan becoming a Time Lord was the consolidation and sealing of his personal timeline. Blood Sea Lord, are you so confident in your future? The voice of the colossal Tianshi Lord reverberated through space-time. He had already revealed his true form, the extreme of the second level, not much smaller than the top-tier dimension of the Chaos Void. Trying to run now? It's too late. The Blood Sea Lord's gaze was indifferent. Once the technique of summoning a future self began, it couldn't be stopped, and the Blood Sea Lord had no intention of stopping. How could they let the Tianshi Lord ruin their plans just like that? The vast blood sea behind the Blood Sea Lord was swaying. An endless blood sea continuously condensed, forming a figure far more magnificent than the Blood Sea Lord. This magnificent figure had bright red hair and resembled the Blood Sea Lord greatly, but its aura was much more terrifying, even as it spanned hundreds of cataclysmic time cycles, suffocating the numerous Time Lords present. A legendary lord. Has the Blood Sea Lord already found a future where he becomes a legendary lord? The hearts of the Time Lords watching sank. If it was previously just speculation, now it was certain. The future of the Blood Sea Lord, where he himself could sense a segment of time, had smoothly stepped into the legendary tier, becoming a third-stage lord of the infinite tribulation. The Tianxia Lord is in trouble this time. The Time Lords looked towards the Tianxia Lord. Facing a legendary tier lord, even if it's only the future self of a legendary tier lord, even a second-tier ultimate lord might not be able to withstand it. The infinite tribulation has 3 stages. The third stage is a qualitative change compared to the previous 2 stages. Big Brother's future. The Void Spirit Lord and Lord of Armor simultaneously observed the towering red figure behind the Blood Sea Lord, their thoughts complex. The Blood Sea Lord had already found his path to legend. What about them? The future sensed by the 2 Time Lords was either dying in a certain tribulation of the infinite tribulation or still struggling at their current level. Legend. The Tianxia Lord looked at the Blood Sea Lord and the towering red figure behind him. Even if your future self really steps into legend, with different time periods between us, I refuse to believe you can act as you wish. In terms of strength, the Tianxia Lord surely wasn't the match of a legendary lord. The only thing the Tianxia Lord could rely on was that this time-space was his home ground, and the Blood Sea Lord's legendary future self would be suppressed and suffer backlash when acting here. For example, if a current time-space lord were to act in the past, they would also be suppressed and backlash would ensue from the timeline. The future legendary lord acting in the present time-space follows a similar principle. Roar! The pair of gray horns atop the Tianxia Lord's head burst forth with an extremely profound aura, the resulting twisted power like an ocean surging towards the Blood Sea Lord. Faced with the Blood Sea Lord, already legendary tier across many times and spaces, the Tianxia Lord didn't retreat an inch, directly taking the initiative to strike. Is that the Tianxia Lord's most powerful move, Oblivion Horn? The surrounding Time Lords were aghast. As a famed lord, the Tianxia Lord's many killing moves were widely known among the Time Lords, among which the Oblivion Horn was the Tianxia Lord's most formidable move. Since becoming a Time Lord, the Tianxia Lord had used this move only 5 times, and each time the enemy was swept away. Of these enemies, 2 had already touched the threshold of legend at the 2nd tier, yet facing the Oblivion Horn, they had no ability to resist. Oblivion Horn? The Blood Sea Lord's expression was heavy. If faced with this move, the best response would be to retreat and avoid the edge. The power of the Oblivion Horn was incredibly terrifying, but the cost was also great. After the Tianxia Lord used the Oblivion Horn, it took at least tens of billions of years to recover and recuperate each time. As long as you avoid a direct hit from the Annihilation Horn, the Time Lord absolutely cannot launch a second strike with the Annihilation Horn. But that is the normal way a Blood Sea Lord would respond to this move. At this moment, his future self overlooks the battlefield and naturally doesn't need to be so cautious. Rustle. Behind the Blood Sea Lord, the vast red silhouette's robes naturally spread out, transforming into a blood-red canopy, actively warding off the Time Lord's strike from the Annihilation Horn. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The twisted annihilation force melted away rapidly upon contact with the blood-red canopy, like water meeting fire, constantly colliding and dissolving. However, compared to the endless blood-red canopy, the twisted annihilation force was evidently somewhat weak and lonely. At the beginning of the clash, both sides could still contend with each other, but after just a few breaths, the twisted annihilation force began to show signs of decline. After a dozen breaths, the blood-red canopy was still overwhelming, but the annihilation force of the twisted space-time was nearly depleted. After 20 breaths, the blood-red canopy occupied all of space-time, and the annihilation force completely dispersed. What? The Time Lord's strongest killing move was blocked just like that? Even though this outcome had been somewhat anticipated, the Time Lords present were still shocked. The twisted power emanating from the Annihilation Horn was enough to make the scalp tingle of those who had reached the legendary threshold of the Time Lords. And yet, it could only last 20 breaths under the blood-red canopy? Ha ha ha! Overlooking the Time Lord, the Blood Sea Lord smiled and said, "Time Lord, your strongest killing move doesn't seem that impressive? Are you not afraid of the Supreme Will's backlash acting so recklessly?" The Time Lord frowned, looking at the vast red silhouette behind the Blood Sea Lord. This vast red silhouette was surrounded by temporal power, at odds with this spacetime. Backlash. The vast red silhouette chuckled softly, saying no more. The next moment, the blood-red canopy around the vast red silhouette suddenly converged, heading toward the Time Lord. The immense force tilted, causing spacetime to continually collapse. Even the ultimate spacetime of Wanwei was hard-pressed to contain the strength of a legendary lord. The future of the Blood Sea Lord's legendary body has made its move. What is this technique? I've never seen it from the Blood Sea Lord before. When the Blood Sea Lord becomes a legend in the future, he will certainly create many killing moves. How could you have seen them before? The Time Lords observing the battle conversed among themselves. Witnessing a true legendary being in action was indeed rewarding. Swoosh! The blood-red canopy surged forward, engulfing the Time Lord instantly. The Time Lord felt engulfed in blood from all directions, losing his sense of the external world, and even the connection with his true self became significantly blurred. Break for me! The Time Lord struggled desperately, yet every bit of strength he exerted was like sinking into a quagmire, even beginning to penetrate into his physical body with the aura of the blood-red ocean. Is this the power of legend? There was a chill in the Time Lord's heart, unable to even destroy this main battle body under the influence of the blood-red ocean's power. This loss is substantial. The Time Lord was troubled. If it was just losing a main battle body, he could still accept it. But having the main battle body fall into the Blood Sea Lord's hands, it was far more than a simple loss of a main battle body. The Time Lord's numerous secret techniques could potentially be unraveled from the main battle body. The consequences of it falling into the enemy's hands are self-evident. Moreover, using the main battle body, many causal methods could be employed, posing another significant threat to the Time Lord. Who knows how much it will cost this time to redeem this main battle body? The Time Lord sighed. He wasn't redeeming the main battle body, but his own hidden dangers. This was far beyond what thousands of pounds of the sands of time could compare to. There's no other way. I'll just annihilate the mind consciousness within this main battle body. As the body gradually lost control, the Time Lord immediately chose to annihilate his own mind intent. Under the influence of the blood-red ocean's power, the Time Lord lost control of his physical body, but his mind intent could still be completely dominated. If a complete piece of his mind intent were to fall into the Blood Sea Lord's hands, then the Time Lord estimated there was even a possibility he could be enslaved by the other party. Outside, the Crimson Ocean converged, forming a deep blood pearl the size of a fist. The blood pearl floated before the Blood Sea Lord, slowly rotating. The main battle body of the Time Lord Tianshi is inside it. The imposing scarlet figure glanced at the Blood Sea Lord and spoke. Inside it. The Blood Sea Lord was overjoyed in his heart. Capturing the main battle body of the Time Lord Tianshi alive would bring many benefits and could somewhat leverage the Time Lord Tianshi. I can exist in this space-time for 10 breaths. After 10 breaths, I will return to the original space-time. The imposing scarlet figure continued. Having descended from the future to this space-time and acted, it would suffer backlash suppression. The timeline's instinctive repairing force would expel him back to the original space-time. Moreover, my actions have already attracted the attention of a few old fellows from the deepest part of Wanwei space-time. You must leave here within 100 breaths. The imposing scarlet figure added. A few old fellows from the deepest part? The Blood Sea Lord's pupils contracted. To be called old fellows by a future self who had already entered the legendary domain, they must be legendary lords. 10 breaths, no problem. The Blood Sea Lord looked around, and at this moment, 20 to 30 Time Lords had already gathered nearby. Gentlemen, you now have 2 choices, the Blood Sea Lord said. One is for the main battle bodies to perish, and the other is for each of you to hand over 10 million genes of time sand. The reason for not capturing the main battle bodies of so many Time Lords alive, as with the Time Lord Tianshi, is because their time far exceeds the latter's. The future self of the Blood Sea Lord could only continue existing for 10 breaths, not having the time to capture them one by one. Only 5 breaths to consider, after which I'll take action." The Blood Sea Lord spoke in a calm tone. "Hand over 10 million genes of time sand?" The multitude of Time Lords looked grim. They wanted to escape, but found that the scarlet power had long permeated the surrounding area. In fact, as soon as the future self of the Blood Sea Lord descended into the spacetime, it had already sealed off the surrounding area, and the lords within range could not escape. "I am willing to hand over 10 million genes of time sand. I am also willing to hand it over." 10 million genes of time sand? Blood Sea Lord, you're dreaming. Within 3 to 4 breaths, most Time Lords made their choice. Some accepted, while others refused, instantly extinguishing their main battle bodies. 5 breaths passed. Only a few Time Lords on the field had not yet given a response. Among these Time Lords was Lin Yuan. Compared to the hesitant and uncertain Time Lords, Lin Yuan fixed his gaze on the Blood Sea Lord and the imposing scarlet figure behind him, his mind continuously colliding with countless inspirations and insights. "You all." The Blood Sea Lord scanned Lin Yuan and the other undecided lords. Swoosh! The scarlet aura continued to gather, clearly preparing to directly extinguish the main battle bodies of these lords. The other Time Lords who disagreed did not even wait for the Blood Sea Lord to act and extinguish their own main battle bodies. But Lin Yuan and the others, having not made a decision, showed no signs of extinguishing their bodies. Therefore, the Blood Sea Lord intended to act personally. "Blood Sea Lord." At this moment, Lin Yuan suddenly spoke, looking at the high and mighty Blood Sea Lord and the imposing scarlet figure behind. "I want to know, in your spacetime, has any lord achieved transcendence?" As soon as this remark was made, the other Time Lords were stunned, turning to look at Lin Yuan, not expecting him to ask such a question at this moment. The Blood Sea Lord was also taken aback, but immediately understood that Lin Yuan was not asking himself, but the future self who had stepped into the legendary level. Transcendence. The imposing scarlet figure looked down at Lin Yuan, as the scarlet aura intertwined. The more he observed Lin Yuan, the more his expression grew uncertain and puzzled. As the legendary lord, even though his true form was in the future, separated by hundreds of cycles of great destruction, a majestic crimson figure sensed that Lin Yuan's timeline had not yet concluded. So Lin Yuan isn't a lord yet? Not a lord? Yet appearing in the one-way spacetime that only lords can enter? A common temporal being entering one-way spacetime is typically brought by other lords. But the aura that Lin Yuan exhibited was not much weaker than the lords around touching the legendary threshold. Not a lord, and yet has such power? The majestic crimson figure was filled with various thoughts, suspecting whether Lin Yuan was a backup left in the past by some other legendary ancient being. A Time Lord can change the past, but they fear the backlash from altering the past. While a legendary lord can already change the past on a larger scale, and their ability to withstand backlash has greatly improved. This is why the majestic crimson figure dared to act in this time-space. As long as more than a few lords are not completely killed, the extent of changes to the past is not too great, which it can fully endure. Interesting. The majestic crimson figure stared at Lin Yuan, smiling and said, "Who are you?" In the original timeline's progression, the Blood Sea Lord was severely wounded due to this incident, even stepping into the legendary tier after several hundred cycles of great destruction. Still, it was significantly affected. Therefore, this time the majestic crimson figure took action to change the past and eliminate the hidden dangers brought by this period of time. Unexpectedly, there was such a surprise, discovering the arrangements of other legendary lords. Who is he? The Blood Sea Lord was shocked upon hearing. Even when facing the Tianxia Lord, the majestic crimson figure was unwilling to say more, but asked Lin Yuan a specific question. This attitude naturally made the Blood Sea Lord realize that Lin Yuan's background was substantial and could also be related to the legendary lords. Other Time Lords thought the same, realizing that what caught the attention of a legendary lord could only be another legendary lord. "I do not know him," the Blood Sea Lord immediately transmitted to the majestic crimson figure. Among the many Time Lords present, he knew most, with only a few concealing their identities unrecognized. Lin Yuan was among these few. The majestic crimson figure said no more, keeping its gaze on Lin Yuan. It speculated on Lin Yuan's identity, guessing it was also a method of some legendary lord. Otherwise, how could a non-lord be comparable to lords touching the legendary threshold? How could a normal temporal being achieve this? Lin Yuan looked at the majestic crimson figure, who did not answer his question, instead asking, "Who is he?" "You answer me first," Lin Yuan said. Time beings can observe future timelines but are greatly influenced, especially when it involves information related to transcendence. In the future, is there truly a lord who transcends? Do you not know yourself? The majestic crimson figure sneered. Revealing future information, especially information related to transcendence, will have profound impacts, far greater than killing a few lords. The majestic crimson figure naturally would not disclose it. And in the eyes of the majestic crimson figure, Lin Yuan is most likely related to a legendary lord. Asking questions is undoubtedly laying traps for it. Of course, this event involves transcendence, beyond the observable scope of the timeline. Who in that era of time beings did not know of that period of despair that left all lords, even all legendary lords, utterly despondent? It was the greatest catastrophe in the endless dimensional history. Of course, this event involves transcendence, beyond the observable scope of the timeline. At least, none of the lords in the current time-space know that they are about to face a time of darkness and despair beyond the resistance of the Lord tier. Sneaky. Let me see who exactly is the old guy behind you? The majestic crimson figure was no longer willing to continue probing. Its time in this space was limited. Only 3 or 4 breaths left to quickly clear obstacles for its past self. Clattering. The mighty blood-colored sky curtain swept again, surging toward Lin Yuan. The simplest way to find out Lin Yuan's origin was to act. When faced with the peril of life and death, the force behind the scenes would naturally reveal themselves. The blood-colored sky curtain permeated through the layers of space-time, blocking all possibilities for Lin Yuan to escape. The only way to survive under the sweep of the blood-colored sky curtain is to withstand the power of the blood. And withstanding it, the Tianxia Lord in the front had already given the answer. Strong as the second-tier extreme Tianxia Lord, submerged under the blood curtain, did not last even a few breaths. This was the result of the majestic crimson figure's intent to capture alive. Had it aimed to completely kill, it would likely not take even a breath. Capturing alive versus killing is entirely different. Even with overwhelming power, capturing alive is quite time-consuming. Buzzing Lin Yuan's external cosmos formed a domain that roared, shattering inch by inch, clearly far from enough to withstand the bloody power. In an instant, Lin Yuan was engulfed by the blood-colored sky curtain, his entire form wobbling. Still not actively extinguishing the main battle body, the surrounding Time Lords were stunned. With the lesson of the Tianxia Lord before them, trying to resist the majestic crimson figure might result in being suppressed alive. The cost of being captured alive is far greater than actively extinguishing the flesh. Let me see who or what your future really is. The majestic crimson figure stared at Lin Yuan, with just 2 breaths left in its stay in this time-space. I am indeed not a match for the legendary lord. Lin Yuan sighed inwardly under the corrosion of the blood-red sky power. However, he wasn't worried. His Taiji primordial spirit was distinctly different from the main battle forms of other lords. The Taiji primordial spirit is not essentially a physical body but a primordial spirit form. Although it transforms into flesh and blood, it remains fundamentally an illusory primordial spirit power. And primordial spirit power, as long as Lin Yuan's will and mind are extinguished, primordial spirit power will naturally dissipate, eliminating the possibility of being captured alive. Lin Yuan didn't even need to deliberately extinguish the Taiji primordial spirit, just disperse his will, and the Taiji primordial spirit would fall into irreversible annihilation. Still, I've gained enough this time. Lin Yuan looked at the towering crimson figure overlooking him. Before dispersing my will, perhaps I can try summoning my future self. By understanding the scene of the Blood Sea Lord summoning the future self, Lin Yuan, though not truly a Time Lord, could attempt to summon his real future self. Yet, Limited by strength and realm, Lin Yuan could by no means reach the level of the Blood Sea Lord, who summoned future selves from hundreds of great destruction cycles later. At most, it's just a future self from several million years later. Several million years later. The timeline Lin Yuan observed of several million years later is extremely blurry. What his future self is doing then is uncertain in his mind. Lin Yuan had also observed the future timelines of other time beings, which were extremely blurry for a while, but not perpetually blurry for millions of years. However, in several million years, the infinite dimensional dimensions basically no longer contained any information related to him. Even the chaos void disappeared, as if it had never appeared. That is precisely why. Lin Yuan then asked the towering crimson figure if any lords had transcended in that spacetime, or if any events related to transcendence had occurred. After all, the counterpart comes from the true future. Begin. Lin Yuan's mind began spreading along the timeline towards the future. In a vague sense, with Lin Yuan at the center, the timelines in all directions started to become chaotic. Is he also summoning his future self? Numerous Time Lords realized Lin Yuan's intention at once. Like the Blood Sea Lord, he was also summoning the future self. According to the attitude of the Blood Sea Lord's future self just now, this one's future is likely also a legendary lord. Two futures are both legendary lords, battling in the current spacetime? The numerous Time Lords were shocked, their faces expectant. One legendary lord making a move is exceptionally rare. Two legendary lords battling, especially future legendary lords battling in the present spacetime? This might not happen once in several or dozens of great destruction cycles. Also summoning the future? The Blood Sea Lord's expression changed as well. Looking at the towering crimson figure behind him and seeing no reaction, he relaxed. With a future self already having stepped into the legendary level, even if Lin Yuan becomes a legendary lord in the future, he can't do anything to him. Whoosh! The timeline twisted and blurred. Behind Lin Yuan, scenes of blurred illusions emerged. Which old fellow is it? The towering crimson figure observed closely. He had just acted to force out the presence behind Lin Yuan, wanting to see clearly which legendary lord's arrangement it was. Yet, in the next moment, the towering crimson figure saw an image imprinted deep in its soul. Accompanied by scenes of blurred illusions flashing by, tier upon tier of white jade steps emerged behind Lin Yuan. The white jade steps seemed both real and illusory, coming from some scene in the future, yet upon their appearance they began impacting the current spacetime. Everything in contact, including the power of the blood-red sky, started irreversibly turning to nothingness. The white jade steps stretched endlessly upward, boundless and without beginning or end, as if leading to the highest point of the infinite dimensional dimensions. Including the Blood Sea Lord, all Time Lords were puzzled. As lords who roam the infinite dimensional dimensions, was there anywhere they hadn't seen? But this white jade staircase leading to who knows where. Not only had they not seen it, they hadn't even heard of it. This is the fourth. Compared to the puzzlement of the other Time Lords, the towering crimson figure widened eyes full of incredulity and disbelief. No need to continue the summoning, Your Excellency. The towering crimson figure immediately spoke. A look of fear flashed across his face, revealing key scenes from the future in the current spacetime. This will incur an irresistible backlash. It's entirely unnecessary. Entirely unnecessary. What do you mean? Lin Yuan was also observing the endless stairs behind him. These endless stairs gave him a sense of déjà vu. At the same time, the timeline continued to be disrupted, and the steps of white jade continued to extend upward, finally revealing an extraordinary scene at some height. In this scene, not only were there white jade stairs, but also a figure appeared. This figure had its back turned to all the Time Lords, slowly ascending the stairs. The white jade stairs were endless, without beginning or end, and a sense of solitude permeated the surroundings of this figure, as if he was the only one in the immense world. Is it you? The majestic crimson figure's mind went blank. Far more incredible than seeing the steps of white jade earlier. The disruption of the timeline spread, and the figure slowly ascending seemed to sense something. The right foot, which was about to step onto the next stair, paused slightly. Then, with a wave of a sleeve, the originally disrupted timeline instantly collapsed completely, swiftly spreading towards the current spacetime. The blood-red canopy power exerted by the majestic crimson figure started to disintegrate without suspense, and an invisible essence instantly arrived, directly erasing the majestic crimson figure out of thin air. Who exactly was that figure slowly ascending the stairs? What level of strength did they possess? What was their relationship with Lin Yuan? Or could it be Lin Yuan's future self? This scene left the surrounding Time Lords unresponsive for a long time. A dignified legendary lord, even a legendary lord from future spacetime, was erased so effortlessly? Who exactly was that figure slowly ascending the stairs? What level of strength did they possess? What was their relationship with Lin Yuan? Or could it be Lin Yuan's future self? To so easily erase a legendary lord, even one in the third stage of endless tribulations, was incredibly powerful, right? Perhaps even surpassing the Lord Wanwei? The invisible essence continued to spread. No, no. The Blood Sea Lord looked at this scene with horror and despair. Because, having lost the protection of the majestic crimson figure, the direction of the spreading invisible essence was coming towards him. Whoosh! The consciousness of the Blood Sea Lord vanished in an instant. The same happened to the Void Spirit Lord and the Lord of Armor behind him. Their consciousness was directly obliterated. The invisible essence did not cause any physical harm to the three lords' bodies, but their consciousness was forcibly erased. What is this? The Time Lords watching the battle felt a chill as they looked at this scene. It was too shocking. Even a legendary lord couldn't erase the consciousness of a second-tier ultimate lord so easily, right? Not to mention that the Blood Sea Lord had also stepped into the legendary tier in the future. In the spacetime 300 major destruction cycles later, the Blood Sea Lord suddenly opened his eyes. His incarnation descending into the past was forcibly obliterated, and his true self naturally knew this immediately. I didn't expect it was that existence, it was that existence. The Blood Sea Lord's mind trembled. I never heard that this existence had been to Wanwei spacetime. Never heard at all. The Blood Sea Lord actually had an answer in his heart. That existence did indeed visit Wanwei spacetime, but this matter had never been disclosed. In the timeline he originally experienced, under normal circumstances, the past of that existence would not summon the future self. Because of his interference, it led to the past of that existence summoning the future self, causing even greater variables to occur. My luck! The Blood Sea Lord looked desperate, because an invisible essence from past spacetime had already crossed over hundreds of major destruction cycle years, arriving at this moment, coming to envelop him. The next moment, the true self of the Blood Sea Lord was obliterated. At the same time, the invisible essence continued to spread across multiple timelines. The past Blood Sea Lord, the present Blood Sea Lord, the future Blood Sea Lord, the weak Blood Sea Lord, the strong Blood Sea Lord, countless Blood Sea Lords, all at different time periods, were all obliterated at the same time. On an endless stairway of white jade, a figure shook its sleeve, glanced down, and continued to slowly ascend the stairs. Wanwei spacetime. The timeline behind Lin Yuan returned to stability. Those white jade steps. Lin Yuan fell into a moment of contemplation. The future self he summoned was positioned on an endless staircase of white jade. And this white jade staircase, the grand crimson figure from the future time-space clearly recognized it and gave responses like, critical future scene, and not necessary at all. It was evident that the white jade steps were quite renowned in the future. Otherwise, a legendary lord wouldn't exhibit such an attitude. In the future timeline I observed, there were no white jade steps, and most of the scenes were blurred, distorted, even pitch black. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. When he first entered the life of time, observing future timelines was always favorable. But as his strength increased and realm elevated, the usefulness of future timelines decreased. Because many scenes and bits of information involved transcendence, or were related to the awareness of the Supreme Rule Tao, they wouldn't show up on the timeline at all, and could only be experienced firsthand. This situation was especially evident among the legendary lords. The legendary lords must have delved into the two transcendent paths of infinite origin and endless tribulation. Their future could unexpectedly turn dark at any time due to these two transcendent paths. The more one explores the ancient timelines of the infinite origin path, the more unforeseen events are likely to occur, with a greater chance of getting lost or perishing in the past. The endless tribulation is even more so, with the final phase consisting of 330 million tribulations, each being a walk on the edge of life and death, and the slightest misstep would lead to soul and body destruction. At least this summoning let me know that in the future, I should be doing quite well. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. He did not know that the Blood Sea Lord's past, present, and future had been completely erased. But from the scenes just now, the future self of the Blood Sea Lord showed no resistance against his own future self. This indicated that his future strength should be incredibly terrifying. And this was just the future self Lin Yuan summoned several million years down the line. Blood Sea Lord. Lin Yuan reined in his thoughts and looked at the three floating corpses in the distance. No matter how powerful his future self might be, for now, Lin Yuan was not even a lord yet, having just recently escaped from poverty. The three lords' corpses represented a tremendous fortune to him, and it was natural to collect them immediately. Swoosh! The three corpses, including that of the Blood Sea Lord, were absorbed into Lin Yuan's internal universe. At the same time, Lin Yuan began to inspect them immediately. 5 Lord-level weapons. Lin Yuan discovered 5 weapons hidden inside the 3 corpses. Among them was a weapon belonging to the Tianshi Lord, along with the flesh of the Tianshi Lord. Of the 5 Lord-level weapons, the most valuable was the Dark Ocean, which belonged to a legendary tier. Dark Ocean was a suppressive type of weapon with a disguise function. The Blood Sea Lord used it to set traps in one-way space-time, disguising as a treasure fortune ground, relying on Dark Ocean. This is a huge gain. A smile reappeared on Lin Yuan's face. The 5 Lord-level weapons, excluding Dark Ocean, each have a value not less than 80 million gene of time sand. Ordinary Lord-level weapons range from hundreds of thousands to several million gene of time sand, but the Blood Sea Lord as a second-tier peak lord, and the Tianshi Lord being of the same tier with the Void Spirit Lord and Lord of Armor being slightly weaker but not by much, heavily invested in their Lord weapons, far surpassing typical Lord-level weapons. As for Dark Ocean, being a legendary tier Lord weapon, its estimated value is 200 million gene of time sand. In other words, the 5 Lord-level weapons have a total value equivalent to 520 million gene of time sand. Additionally, there are scattered treasures and rare items, amounting to a value of about 1 or 2 million gene of time sand. It's important to know, despite many encounters in one-way space-time, all of Lin Yuan's previous acquisitions only amounted to treasures worth 30 to 40 million gene of time sand. But now, directly over 500 million gene of time sand in gains? What a pity! Lin Yuan couldn't help but feel regretful. The trap set by the Blood Sea Lord and the other 3 lords certainly ensnared other Time Lords before the Tianshi Lord. These Time Lords likely chose to use time sand to ensure the survival of their bodies, but that time sand? Surely traded outside one-way space-time. Within one-way space-time, no Time Lords could carry such a large amount of time sand. Even Lin Yuan's acquisition of the 5 Lord-level weapons was an unexpected variable. Normally, lords entering one-way space-time wouldn't bring excessively valuable weapons. However, the Blood Sea Lord and the other 3 lords went against the norm, bringing 4 weapons under the guise of having future selves who already crossed into the legendary tier as backup, including a lord weapon at the legendary level. The Tianshi Lord had a try-and-see attitude, believing that without the intervention of legendary lords, other lords couldn't pose a true threat. These 3 corpses, plus the Tianshi Lord's body, are also invaluable. Lin Yuan thought to himself, considering how much effort and cost would be involved in forging a main combat body. The simplest use would be to return these 4 bodies back to their origin source, refining them back into origin power or directly forging them into 5 Lord-level weapons. As for other uses, the best option would naturally be to sell them back to their original owners. The main battle of the Lord's physical form not only signifies a dedication of heart and blood, but also embodies numerous secrets of the self. To redeem the main battle physical form, the owner of the form is sure to be willing to purchase at a premium. Just as Lin Yuan put away the bodies of the Blood Sea Lord and others, examining the spoils. A group of Time Lords watched this scene with their eyes wide open, not daring to make a single move. Every Time Lord knew that the 3 bodies of the Blood Sea Lord and others contained immense wealth. But no Time Lord dared to take advantage of the opportunity, for just now the white jade staircase Lin Yuan summoned, and the figure on the staircase with its back to them, which with a wave of a sleeve extinguished both the current and future form of the Blood Sea Lord, left a deep imprint on every Time Lord's soul, never to be forgotten. With the Blood Sea Lord as a precedent, who would dare to make a move at this time? Such a dignified Blood Sea Lord just died like that? The main battle physical form died within the one-way dimension. A Time Lord murmured, as if in a dream. The obliteration of the Blood Sea Lord across all timelines, even the legendary lords found it difficult to perceive. Thus many Time Lords on the scene only believed that the Blood Sea Lord had lost a main battle physical form. Even so, it was extremely baffling. Not only did the Blood Sea Lord fall, but so did his future form, the one that had stepped into the legendary level future form. Which lord could it be? With such terrifying future strength, reaching the final stage of the 330 million tribulations, to what degree? The 200 millionth tribulation? Or the 300 millionth? The more each Time Lord thought, the more shocked they became, unable to calm their minds for a long time. Time Lords walk every step on the edge of life and death. More so for the legendary lords. To possess greater strength, one must endure more tribulations, and every tribulation comes with the risk of falling. Within the vast dimensional gaps, in a palace hidden within a special space, the true body of the Tianshi Lord opened his eyes, showing an incredible expression. The Blood Sea Lord summoned his future form which had stepped into the legendary level, and suppressed my main battle physical form. Later, a lord watching on the side also summoned a future form that casually wiped away the Blood Sea Lord's present and future forms. The Tianshi Lord blinked, and through a Time Lord nearby, he understood what happened after he was suppressed. It was truly a turn of events. The future of that observing lord. The Tianshi Lord found it unbelievable. He had personally faced the future form of the Blood Sea Lord, and although ultimately suppressed, he understood the terrifying methods of the opponent. Such an existence could also be casually erased. My main battle physical form fell into the hands of that observing lord? The Tianshi Lord couldn't help but feel a headache. If his main battle physical form fell into the hands of the Blood Sea Lord, the Tianshi Lord would be troubled but could roughly understand the price needed to redeem it. But falling into the hands of this mysterious lord? The Tianshi Lord knew nothing about this mysterious lord, and the terrifying future of the other party made him very uneasy. Having no idea how to redeem his main battle physical form? If the price is too high, he might not be able to afford it. If it's too low, could provoke the other party, leading to an unpleasant outcome. No matter what, I still have to try. The Tianshi Lord steadied himself, realizing that his main battle physical form could not remain outside. Even if it costs him greatly, he had to try to redeem it. In the deepest part of the one-way dimension, when the Blood Sea Lord summoned his future form, it alarmed several existences here. When it involves the third-level legendary lord's power, it can be perceived no matter how far away. Another legendary lord. Is it a legendary lord from the future? Acting in the present dimension, is it laying out pieces or mending his own hidden dangers? The few legendary lords in the deepest part of the one-way dimension didn't pay too much attention. Legendary lords occasionally act in past dimensions, which isn't too surprising. As long as there isn't too much impact caused, other legendary lords are too lazy to intervene, since a future legendary lord acting in the present is akin to a present legendary lord acting in the past. Is it Blood Sea? That guy became a legend in the future. Several legendary lords observed from afar, discussing amongst themselves. The future seen by the legendary lords is mostly vague and dark, especially when it involves other legendary lords. Each legendary lord walks deep on the path of transcendence, related to transcendence, and is difficult to observe. Immediately following, as Lin Yuan began to summon his future form, every legendary lord's expression changed. What is this? This suppression of time and space impact? Numerous legendary lords wore grave expressions, and several others, still in a state of understanding, also awoke, gazing towards the direction where the timeline was tangled. An endless white jade staircase. A figure climbing step by step with its back to all beings. The scene of a sleeve wave wiping out both the present and future form of the Blood Sea Lord. Within a few brief breaths, everything that happened left the legendary lords breathless. Instantly obliterated. Even the future legendary form of the Blood Sea Lord couldn't withstand it. Acting at different time segments, the power would naturally be suppressed and limited, yet still reached such a level the strength of this existence. Definitely not inferior to the existence of Lord Wanwei, probably almost explored the end of a path of transcendence. Who exactly is it? And that white jade staircase, never seen before, is it from some dimensional space? The numerous legendary lord spirits were continuously shaken. They were not very concerned about the future legendary form of the Blood Sea Lord because they were basically on the same level or even superior. But the figure on the endless white jade staircase, the wide dimensional gaps, legendary lords generally don't reveal their tracks, but such a powerful legendary lord, even likely surpassing Lord Wanwei's legendary lord, this terrifying existence of future time and space, is his past form? The numerous legendary lords cast their gaze toward Lin Yuan from afar, secretly surprised. Not a lord, yet possessing strength close to the extreme of the second level. One cannot know how many years removed this terrifying existence is from the future. Regardless of how many years into the future, such strength presumes not many exist within the vast dimensional gaps. Indeed, even counting those hidden old antiques, there may not be many that compare with this one. A quick exchange between the legendary lords in the deepest Wanwei dimension. Does the current Wanwei dimension have any legendary lords comparable or even surpassing the Wanwei Lord? Indeed, it does exist, but it's extremely rare. Legendary lords of such heights, about to see the end of a path to transcendence, seldom divert their attention unless it concerns their transcendence. That white jade staircase? A legendary lord emitting purple light wore a serious expression, glancing at the other legendary lords. Recently, in the future we observed, from 10,000 to 1,000,000 years later, there is a period when the timeline is incredibly dark and obscure, difficult to observe any information. The future timeline observed by Time Lords is largely vague and dark, referring to the information they wish to know being vague and dark. As for the intricate future images, related to other time beings and ordinary Time Lords, some fragments can still be viewed. After all, it doesn't involve transcendence, or hasn't contacted too much with transcendence. However, what the present legendary lords saw in the future timeline, from 10,000 to 1,000,000 years later, was uniformly in an incredibly obscure state. It means that in 10,000 to 1,000,000 years, a significant event affecting the vast dimensional gaps will occur, likely related to transcendence, resulting in such observations amongst these legendary lords. You mean that white jade staircase is related to the future obscurity we observed? Another legendary lord looked contemplative. Indeed. The purple light legendary lord nodded and continued, I'm merely speculating. Although this is just speculation, the purple light legendary lord is almost certainly confirmed. The endless white jade staircase is so extraordinary. Its aura has an air of transcending everything. What should we do now? A legendary lord asked in a low voice. The implication was how to deal with Lin Yuan. Currently, Lin Yuan's strength is ordinary, not even at the lord level. But in the future, Lin Yuan is highly likely to be one of the strongest legendary lords in the vast dimensional gap, and also linked to transcendence. Keep a distance. The purple light legendary lord pondered for a moment and said in a low voice, Keep a distance? The other legendary lords glanced at each other. Lin Yuan's future is too terrifying, even incomprehensible to the legendary lords. Facing such an existence, the legendary lords are in awe and dare not offend. But to intentionally get close, they also dare not, fearing to bear some gigantic karmic burden and get stuck in it. The stronger the power, the higher the realm, the more one can feel the terrifying connection between the vast dimensional gap and transcendence. Perhaps an ordinary lord would rush to befriend Lin Yuan upon seeing such a powerful future. But legendary lords see further, related to transcendence? Throughout history, those who tried to approach or get close to transcendence almost all died. No good ending. Legendary lords are willing to bear life and death risks for transcendence, but they don't want to die inexplicably. Yes, keep a distance. The purple light legendary lord nodded. And absolutely do not offend him. Understood. All the legendary lords said. Diverting his eyes from the cosmic spoils stored within him, Lin Yuan glanced around. At this moment, several Time Lords were cautiously and tentatively observing him. You may leave now. Lin Yuan was not the Blood Sea Lord and was not interested in acts of plunder. In fact, with his current strength, he couldn't plunder, and as for summoning his future self. The future self is a trump card. Frequently summoning the future self will have profound impacts on the timeline, just as current spatial Time Lords have the power to change the past but dare not change it at will. Even strong legendary lords might cause enormous risks by interfering with the past. For example, the Blood Sea Lord, who in the future steps into the legendary level, interferes with the current space-time, resulting in attracting Lin Yuan's future self. This is an enormous risk. An unpredictable, enormous risk. Lin Yuan is also worried that frequently summoning his future self might cause similar troubles. And summoning the future self requires the consent of the future self. If my past self frequently summoned him to resolve troubles in the past, Lin Yuan would also be annoyed. We may leave. The Time Lords slightly breathed a sigh of relief, compared to the Blood Sea Lord forcibly coercing them into handing over large amounts of Sand of Time by summoning his future self. The methods Lin Yuan exhibited required no coercion. Just a simple word was enough. No lord dared to refuse Lin Yuan's request. May I know your title, sir? A Time Lord tentatively asked. Galaxy, Lin Yuan said in a calm tone. By now, there was no need to hide his identity. Galaxy. All the lords present deeply memorized this title, then gradually left. After sending the spoils out of Wanwei space with a split avatar, Lin Yuan's gaze turned towards the deepest part of Wanwei space. Wanwei space is divided into 3 levels: the outer area, the deep area, and the deepest area. The outer area is where ordinary lords explore, the deep area is for the second-level lords, while the deepest area, only lords who reach the legendary threshold can get close. To enter, one must either be a legendary lord or a special second-level extreme lord. Lin Yuan has explored the deep area for thousands of years, and the harvest is enough, so he now wants to head to the deepest area and have a look. He doesn't expect to enter the deepest area. As long as he can get close and take a look, it'll be enough. It is said that in the deepest area, the information left by the Wanwei Lord for future legendary lords is related to the path of transcendence, which is also why every time Wanwei space opens, legendary lords come in. Swoosh! Lin Yuan immediately flew towards the deepest area of Wanwei space. Years later, Lin Yuan finally arrived outside the deepest area. Ahead was a twisted void entrance, where several Time Lords sparsely gathered outside. The lords appearing here are those who have touched the legendary threshold, most of whom are directly second-level extreme lords. Lords who touched the legendary threshold come here to see, while second-level extreme lords desire to enter the deepest area. To enter the deepest area, 2 prerequisites. Either become a legendary lord, or be a special second-level extreme lord. The special here has no specific requirements, as long as one can enter the entrance. Lin Yuan looked at the twisted void entrance, and the space-time rules of this entrance were extremely special, completely different from the normal space-time rules of the outside world. Truly worthy of being the Wanwei Lord. Lin Yuan marveled in his heart. Just by watching this void entrance, He vaguely sensed the elegance of the former one-way lord. That is the absolute mastery of spacetime, even to the point of creating his own spacetime rules based on the existing spacetime. Just as Lin Yuan was observing the void entrance, the originally calm void entrance suddenly surged with waves, and a figure was forcibly thrown out. No! This figure was extremely unwilling, and he steadied himself, looking at the void entrance, wanting to enter again, but was forcibly blocked.